In Ekiti, I think, in Ondo, there was none. I didn't get a report. Maybe they were, but maybe not significant. In Ekiti, we only had about 2 or 3 cases of ballot board theft. In Kogi, somebody tried to make away with the ballot board. It was killed. Which means the citizen is also responding to defending their vote, which we call what we call mandate protection. We have voted. You try to steal it, you die for it. So politicians will also now develop strategy not to go to the point of stealing ballot paper, rather to go to the voter who will vote legitimately and get to negotiate the deal. 2,000, you vote for me, but you will show me before I vote, if I pay you. That's marketing. So what we need to do as INEC, or what INEC need to do, like I already tried to just to re-emphasize, is to create a platform where the voter, I once thought about 2 things. After voting, let there be an envelope that is given to the voter while the ballot paper. An envelope is issued. Once you vote, you fold your paper, put it inside the envelope before coming out. That is one way.
Okay.
Number 2, the cubicle can have something like curtain. You go in, you vote, you fold your ballot, so nobody sees you putting your hand up or down. This has cost implication, but these are strategies we can explore.
Okay, let's talk about electronic voting now. Will it in any way curb this process?
Oh, very good. I've once been apostle of electronic
How come in 2018, Nigeria is still not attempting?
Countries of the world are moving to analog.
They're living.
US may move from electronic transmission to analog. Germany does not respect electronic transmission. They still vote by paper. See, I was an advocate of electronic transmission, but certain things have happened over time. Kenya is a case of study. Certain today hacked their website, especially leading to the 2015 election. But what do we need to do? This is it. I will support electronic transmission for real-time reporting. The way you see it in the US, you see results coming in. There's a dashboard. You see it, Republican. INEC to announce a formal result. People just see results coming in. I will like that, but this is what we can do. There is a provision by INEC right now. After the vote is cast at the polling unit, a Form EC8A, which is a result sheet, is written out. The presiding officer will be saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that a Form 60E. What does Form 60E do? That form is wider and bigger and more clearly written than the result sheet. The result sheet are given to agents and police officers and observers, of course, who are present at the unit. But what the Form 60E does, once the result on the Form EC8A, which is the original result of the polling unit, is transferred into the Form 60E, boldly written with a marker and pasted at the unit. Then, right before the observers and the agents and all of that, the result is transmitted from the polling unit. So there's evidence of that from 60E, which should be snapped. What we want INEC to do is to criminalize non-pasting or not posting of that from 60E by presiding officer. Any presiding officer used must, not negotiable, must paste the from 60E so that there are references in case anything changes. Before INEC releases results, people can snap all of this from 60E across all the units and tabulate them and have results waiting for INEC to publish. So if anything goes wrong, these are evidence that can be used in court.
Thank you, Austin Aigbe, for coming. Really an insightful one. I have been speaking with Austin Aigbe, political affairs analyst. We're talking about ways to overcome vote buying and the menace of vote buying as it affects the 2019 elections. But like we said here on the conversation, INEC has made a statement by its national chairman. Ekiti is gone now, or Oshu is next in a couple of days' time. We hope to see some sort of improvement on that elections. Thank you very much, Austin, for coming one more time. Thank you.
I'm honored.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
That's how much we can take. And don't forget to download our mobile app via Android and iOS. Don't forget to watch us live on our website. It's www.ptvng.com/live. The news at 8 is next. I am Daniel Wamoso.
News 24 Extra is taking it up a notch. You can now have news curated to your interest anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store on iOS. Search News 24 Extra. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news in politics, entertainment, lifestyle, sports, and much more. So stay connected with News 24 Extra. News at your fingertips.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Hello there and welcome to Kizin Africana. I'm your host Lilian Ogazi. Now today I have an amazing chef and a very short, interesting meal. This week again.
Yeah, this week again we have something super amazing.
Okay, last week was amazing and then this week it is super amazing. So what are we preparing this week that is super amazing?
What we have to make today is called Ikira Icho. Now, Icho is a name for water yam.
Okay.
Then Ikira is the Ikira made from Icho. So
what is Ikira first? This is Ikira made from Icho.
The name given to
sounds like akara.
Yes, but I don't want to use the word akara because in my language we call it Ikira.
So Ikira Icho.
Yes, that's to cakes made from water yam.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono.
One of the reasons for the crowd in the banking hall have to do with the bulk of people who use the ATM.
One of the banks happened to be one of our very old banks. Okay, they were doing that. They've been doing that for quite a while. You know, the level of education usually cannot be compared to education for those with current accounts. Yeah. Okay, so when you have education.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono. With me today,
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
As usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm that made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC.
Jesus.
I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask these people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Thomas Sankara was born into a Catholic family. Sankara belonged to an ethnic group that originated with marriage between Mosi men and women from the pastoralist Fulani people. After basic military training in secondary school in 1966, Sankara began his military career at the age of 19, and a year later he was sent to Madagascar for officer training at Antsirabe, where he witnessed popular uprisings in 1971 and 1972. After he returned to Upper Volta in 1972, in 1974 he fought in a border war between Upper Volta and Mali. In 1976, he became the commander of the Commando Training Center in Pau and was appointed Secretary of the State for Information in the military government in September 1981. He attended his first cabinet meeting on a bicycle, but he resigned on April 21, 1982 in opposition to what he saw as the regime's anti-labor drift, declaring misfortune to those who gag the people. After another coup in November 7, 1982, which brought Major Dr. Jean-Baptiste Pouedro to power, Sankara became Prime Minister in January 1983, but he was dismissed just after 4 months in office and placed under house arrest with Henri Zongo and Jean-Baptiste Bukari Lingani after a visit by the French president's son and African Affairs advisor Jean-Christophe Mitterrand. His arrest caused a popular uprising. In 1983, a group of revolutionaries seized power on behalf of Sankara in a popularly supported coup in 1983. Aged just 33, Sankara became the president with the goal of promoting the well-being of the poorest people in the country by eliminating corruption and the dominance of the former French colonial power, among other things. He immediately launched one of the most ambitious programs for social, ecological, gender, and economic change, ever attempted on the African continent. To symbolize this new autonomy and rebirth, he renamed the country from the French colonial Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning land of the upright man. His foreign policies were centered on anti-imperialism, with his government eschewing all foreign aid, pushing for odious debt reduction, nationalizing all land and mineral wealth, and averting the power and influence of the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. His domestic policies were focused on preventing famine with agrarian self-sufficiency and land reform, prioritizing education with a nationwide literacy campaign, and promoting public health by vaccinating 2,500,000 children against meningitis, yellow fever, and measles. Other components of his national agenda included planting over 10 million trees to halt the growing desertification of the Sahel, doubling wheat production by redistributing land from feudal landlords to peasants, suspending rural poll taxes and domestic rent, and establishing an ambitious road and railway construction program to tie the nation together. On the localized level, Sankara also called on every village to build a medical dispensary and had over 350 communities build schools with their own labor. Moreover, his commitment to women's rights led him to outlaw female genital mutilation, forced marriages, and polygamy, while appointing women to high governmental positions and encouraging them to work outside the home and stay in school, even if pregnant. In order to achieve this radical transformation of society, Sankara increasingly exerted authoritarian control over the nation. He eventually banned unions and a free press, which he believed could stand in the way of his plans. To counter his opposition in towns and workplaces around the country, he also persecuted corrupt officials, alleged counter-revolutionaries, and lazy workers in proper revolutionary tribunals. Additionally, as an admirer of Fidel Castro's Cuban Revolution, Sankara set up Cuban-style committees for the defense of the revolution. His revolutionary programs for African self-reliance made him an icon to many of Africans poor. Sankara remained popular with most of the country's citizens. However, his policies alienated and antagonized the vested interests of several groups, which included the small but powerful Burkinabe middle class, the tribal leaders whom he stripped of the long-held traditional right to forced labor and tribute payment, as well as France and its ally, Ivory Coast. On October 15, 1987, Sankara was assassinated by troops led by Blaise Compaoré, who took Sankara's office shortly after. A week before his assassination, he declared, "While revolutionaries as individuals can be murdered, you cannot kill ideas." Charismatic Thomas was a decent guitarist in Ouagadougou and a lover of motorbikes.
To, da kai da ke da ita da shi da kowa nake so na yi magana da. Me ke faruwa? Kana son karuwa ga ka zaune bakin rijiya amma kana jin ishin ruwa? Gangan jikin siyasa. In ta dangwala ka dangwala na dangwala. Ina amfanin ana yi ba da kai ba? A turancin Najeriya to an gaya maka. No sit down look. Kana sit down kana looking komai na ƙara lalacewa? Ina ka ga daman ƙwarafi? Da masu jini a jika ake yi, watan matasa. Kwankwasa a buɗa ki shige, ɗago ka shaki iska ko ka lime, da ƙyar ka sha yafi da ƙyar aka kama ka. No sit down look. Matasa ke siyasa. Yin rajista, karɓi katin zaɓe, yana da amfani ƙwarai kwa.
No sit down look.
No sit down look.
No sit down look.
Make una no sit down look oh.
A popular saying in Nigeria goes that at the time a cockerel matures, it begins to crow to tell the world the time of day. This makes a crucial premise for all of us who have come of age, the youths, to lend our voices to a nation set to flip a new page, like the chance to vote and be voted for, whether being a youth, a woman, or a person with disability, and to do this in unity. And to anyone who hasn't been confident enough to exercise these rights, I beg, step out of the dark and come into the light. I mean, your participating in the electoral process is significant, a moment to behold, like that cock crowing in the morning to tell about a difference. No sit down, look. Do something that will count today and be in tomorrow's books. The elections are coming. Register for and get your voter's card, your power card. As a citizen, and especially as a young lady or lad, lend your voice, use your voice, talk, say, and tell the world the time of day.
Ni ne mai suna Tukur Sani daga Kajuru local government a Kufana. Gaskiya mu a garin nan Kufana community duka muka taro muka zauna muka yi meeting game da matsalan hanyar nan, wannan rafin nan mun kai kuka a wajen hakimi da shi hakimi ya ce to wannan matakin nan shi zai rubuta ya kai ma local government. Daga wurin kuma sai member na skip wani kungiya ne na zaman kanta, shi ma wani member ya zo ya shigo da wannan budget na wannan gadan nan tun da dadewa, amma har yanzu ba mu samu cin gaba game da wannan hanyar ba. Har ila yau muna kan rubuta letoti, mun ma rubuta leta waɗanda sun ma fi so 10. This is how we in Kufana, Kajuru local government, Kaduna State, no sit down, look.
Dub, 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 dub. Yes.
My name is Jane, and I am 18, and this is where I hang out with my friends. We are deeply concerned about the problems facing Nigeria, but when it comes to doing something about it, we would rather sit on the fence.
Hold up. Dub, 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 dub. Dub, 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 dub. Yes. Dub, 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 dub. Dub, 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 dub. Yes. Dub, 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 dub. Yes.
One day as I did dab, they go. Now I see my neighbor on top electric pole. Don't be hammer you hold so. Before. So? Climb every day. Come on electric bill. You not gree pay.
Waiting concern you for dear. I beg you. Come over here.
Okay, oh. I don't talk my own. As I dab reach house. Yeah! Fire! Fire! My brand new flat screen.
Hold up.
Waiting concern you for dear. I beg you. Come over here.
Government property, now my property. If you don't come down now, I go report.
No be only report. Now report card.
Dub, 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 dub. Dub, 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 dub. Yes.
A classico, I say you, like 3 points is clear.
Yes.
They go watch match.
Okay, what do you want me to do about it?
Give us light.
That's the only thing you've been saying since you came into my office.
Maybe your work be that.
No, it's my work, but see.
Our government fit do their work if we self do our own work. No just sit down. Carry wetin dey worry you, go meet who suppose solve am.
See you, if we not talk, nothing will change.
See, don't look government, inna the rain again. Start or join group to solve problems for your community.
Soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
said there had hardly been any administration.
Practitioner will explain the end of justice about
no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
have appealed to the National Assembly to cut short its recess to attend to a number of issues. But it seems there is another big one that requires the lawmakers' speedy consideration. It is the Electoral Act Amendment Bill of 2018 that was vetoed for the third time last month by President Muhammadu Buhari. The president had returned the bill unsigned, citing unresolved drafting issues and uncorrected clerical errors, according to the senior special assistant to the president of National Assembly Matters, Senator Ita Enang. But after opposition figures and the media accused the president of withholding assents because he does not want card readers used in 2019, Senator Enang had to wade in to say categorically that card reader was not even part of the amendment sought by the federal lawmakers. Now, since that clarification, there had been silence from the National Assembly and the opposition. Hello and welcome to Inside Story. This week, the Electoral Amendment Act Bill and issues surrounding it will be our major discuss here on Inside Story. This week, I am Lilian Ogazi. And joining me here to talk about it is Jide Ojo, a columnist to the Punch newspaper. You're welcome.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's nice having you again. Yeah. It's been a while. Now, let's starting off with this whole Electoral Act Amendment Bill. What was your first reaction when you heard of the president's refusal to assent to the bill?
I felt dejected. I wasn't happy at all because I knew that a lot of efforts have gone into into the passage of that bill. And it's one bill that we hope will help to deepen our democracy and give us credible and better 2019 elections. We've been at it since January, February. The first time the National Assembly transmitted to the president was on about February, sometimes in February, but the communication to the National Assembly that he wasn't going to sign was on March 3rd. And he cited 3 reasons why he couldn't sign, one of which many of us popularly know as reordering the sequence of elections, and also adding additional 1 day to the 2 days that INEC has announced for the hosting of 2019 elections. There are other 2 reasons, which has to do with 2 grants of petitions which were removed by virtue of Section 180, amendment to Section 138, as well as trying to make law for local government, Section 145 or thereabout. Now, those 3 were the contentious issues at February, March. You will recall that the National Assembly threatened to override the president's veto, and they were spoiling to actually do that. But maybe it came to their knowledge that they may not be able to get the required 2/3 majority, which is why they now backed down and decided to now remove those sections. You recall that Accord Party actually went to court to challenge the National Assembly from having to reorder the sequence of elections. And while the High Court agreed with the Accord Party that the National Assembly does not have the power to reorder the sequence of elections, the Court of Appeal felt otherwise. But while all of those legal tango was going on, the National Assembly for the second time passed the amendment to the 2010 Electoral Act in June, and it was transmitted to the President on Monday, June 25th. However, in that amended version, there are 41 alterations or amendments. Out of those 41 alterations, the observations were made that there were some clerical errors, inelegant drafting, and cross-referencing issue. Before, that didn't generate as much public attention as the current one, which was passed again for the 3rd time on July 24th, which was the day the National Assembly went on their annual recess, and transmitted to the President on August 3rd. But by August 30th, the President wrote to the National Assembly that there were subsisting clerical errors, inelegant drafting, and cross-referencing issues. And for that reason, he would not be able to sign. I must, however, let our viewers know that as against the version that was passed to the President in June, which has 41 amendments, the one that was transmitted to him on August 3rd had only 15 sections amended. In fact, not even 15, 13. But we can say it's 15 because you have the title and then the citation as number 1 and number 15. But the actual amendment to the Act is 13 in number. Now, my dejection was born out of the fact that we were hoping that with some of the noble provisions in the amendment, we will have a better 2019 elections. However, it has not thus far happened. And to make matter worse, as we are trying to make sense of whether the version that I currently have, which is here, which had those 15 clauses, are the one that was transmitted to the President on August 3rd, or whether it was the one of June,
that has 41. The National Assembly has kept quiet. They just said when they reconvene, or when they resume for plenary, they will take a look.
Okay. Now, we're still talking about the National Assembly. Away from that briefly now, you were initially critical of the president not assenting to the bill. Now, what led to the change of heart from you, reflected in your latest article? What led to that? Well,
what led to it is, I've alluded to it in my opening remark, is the fact that I now realized clearly that there were clerical errors and illegal drafting and cross-referencing issue as espoused by the senior special assistant to the president on legislative matters, Senate, that's Senator Itaena. Because he didn't, in his press statement, he just made few allusions. Let me say this. When I reviewed the one, because I had to do a capacity building for some legal officers in June, so I went in search and I got a copy of the one that was transmitted to the president in June. And I did notice that there was a section that was supposed to say 150 days. They increased the number of days for, I don't know whether notice of election or for campaign, from 90 days currently to 150 days. But they wrote 50 days. Now, if you have some legal experience, you will know that you cannot go to court to plead that the intendment was to write 150 days. Once it is signed, whether it was an error of the heart or of the soul or of the body, you are duty bound to implement it. How could you say you are increasing from 90 to 50 days? So that was, I'm just citing to you what I found in the 41 sections. So when they said that there were clerical errors, I did observe that. There are more, there were a few others, but that comes readily to mind. Now, I had thought that it was just as simple as dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and then we'll have it transmitted and the president will sign. But the presidency is insisting that there are still subsisting errors. In spite of the earlier reservation expressed to the parliament in June, there are still subsisting. Then you ask yourself, Lillian, in National Assembly, you possibly may not know, they have a huge bureaucracy, apart from the parliamentarians, senators, House of Reps members. Even these senators and House of Reps members have 11 heads. 5 of them with them here, 6 in their constituency offices. Now, forget about those ones. There are consultants that also work for the different committees of the National Assembly. How come these drafting errors, these lacunas, these cross-referencing issues, these clerical errors were not spotted before they were transmitted to the president? Was that error of the mind? Was that an error of omission or commission? That is one. 2, I'm saddened by the money we are wasting. And there is also a social cost. The social cost to this is that we may not have better elections than we previously had in 2019.
Okay, now, let's talk about the National Assembly. They have not said a word since Enang's reposition, or exposition rather now. But could it have also been an error on the part of the lawmakers to have actually left the issue of the card reader out?
Again, thanks for spotting that. You know, as against the grain of public opinion since September 3rd, where opposition and many critics of government have said, oh, President Buhari doesn't want the card reader to be used. That's why he refused to sign. Forget about every other thing he's saying. That's the main reason. And he's a primary beneficiary of card reader and all of that. Now, I was surprised when reviewing this document before me that there is no section 49, which actually was the section in the previous one that had 41 sections that talked about the card reader. Smart card reader, specifically mentioned. Now, was that a deliberate or erroneous omission? And that's not the only one I found very funny. There is also a section that says if you swear to false affidavit to get nominated and you are taken to court, you not only stand disqualified if you are proven guilty, but your party will lose the chance to field the candidate in a rerun.
Okay.
Do you know the import of that? That has already happened. It was just being legalized. It happened in Anambra Central Senatorial District, where, if you are familiar with the issue of Senator Uche Ekunife, how she was elected on PDP, and then she was taken to court that she was not properly nominated and all of that. And the court ruled that that was true. And PDP was barred from fielding a candidate in the rerun. Who is occupying that position now? Senator Victor Ume, former ABGA chairman, won early this year. Okay. Now, it was now an attempt to institutionalize that. In fact, there are so many reactive laws that were made to validate some of our court decisions on elections. Let me cite this other example. There is a section, I don't know the section offhand, but I don't want to be reading because of time, that says that, you know, quite a number of senators and House of Reps members that were deemed not to have been properly nominated, when they are sacked and the real winner were asked to take over, the court, particularly the Supreme Court, also asked them to refund all that they have gotten in the course of their usurpation for that position. Now, these people are said, in the previous amendment in section, in the previous amendment that had 41 sections, that was taken care of, you know, that if you swear to false affidavit and you stand to lose out and your party. But in this recent one, there is nothing of sort. They've removed it. The one that lifted ban on electronic voting, section 52, has been removed. In fact, a total of about 29 sections were removed from the one they sent in June. 29. So leaving only 13 out of 41. Now, I'm curious, on what ground were those expunged, were those deletions made? Is it that they realized that it has already been taken care of by some other laws, or that they just felt, oh, this could harm us? It's like shooting ourselves in the foot, like the one that says if you swear to false affidavit, you know, they are the one. I mean, you recall the case of Eman Embe from Benue, who was sacked, and a lady was asked to take over his position from Benue. The Supreme Court said all the money he has collected should be refunded. There's this senator in either Akwa Ibom or Cross River who was also victim. There are also some cases in Delta like that, about 8 cases where the Supreme Court said if once you are wrongfully nominated, you stand the risk of refunding everything. You are. But they removed that. They removed electronic voting. They removed smart card reader. They removed the one that even increased in the one for that was the one that has 41 sections. They increased in section 91 subsection 2 to 7. They increased the amount individuals can spend on their campaign from 1 billion for president to 5 billion, from 200 million for governors to 1 billion, down the line to councillor from 1 million to 5 million. In this current one, that has been expunged. That means the current ceiling will stay. There are also other provisions like that. There is one that talked about giving INEC 60 days. I think section 78 to subsection 2, which was to give INEC 60 days. They themselves proposed that in the June edition, that INEC will need more time to process application of political associations. So The current law says 30 days. They increase it to 60 days. Now they have expunged it from this. Several others like that has been, which I felt were going to help, improve our democracy, our electoral process. Now, the ones that are subsisting, there are still errors, cross-referencing issues. And if you permit me, I can mention a number of them.
Please go ahead.
There is a section 87. If you look at section 87, subsection 2, subsection 12, and you will see this subsection 87 has 25 subsections.
Okay.
Let's go to section 12 for the purpose of clarity. It says where a primary election is conducted and duly attended and certified by the Commission in compliance with this act and the result is subsequently altered by a political party, the Commission shall have the powers to overrule the alteration made by a political party and oppose such primaries. What this it means is that if you have party primaries as they are about to hold it, and as has been happening in many parties, somebody will win, somebody else's name will be forwarded, or they will alter the result. Now, this subsection 12 is empowering INEC monitors to overrule the political parties to stay true to whoever won in that primaries. Now, more or less giving INEC power to determine the winner of party primaries. But, my sister, this is the Electoral Act. If you go to section 31, subsection 1, which is here, if you see this, let me just read it from the beginning. Every political party shall not later than 60 days, I'm coming to this issue of 60 days later, okay, before the date appointed for a general election under the provision of this act, submit to the Commission in the prescribed form the list of candidates the party proposes to sponsor at the election, provided, this is the caveat, provided that the Commission, which is INEC, shall not reject or disqualify candidates for any reason whatsoever. Now, does this bear reference to section 87.12 that I talked about? It says that provided, which means you have ousted INEC or you have divested INEC of any role in the nomination of candidates. That's what this section 31 subsection 1 is saying. But when you look at section 87 subsection 12 here, it gives INEC power to determine, in the event that you want to alter the result, to say, no, you didn't win. We have the result. We have authenticated the result. This is the person that won. It's Lillian that won. It's not Chijoke. But they didn't cross-reference this to amend this to now recognize the power that has been given to INEC in section 87 subsection 12. Did you get that? Yes. That's where the cross-referencing error emanates from. There is also a provision that I think subsection 14 in this bill. Okay, subsection 14 says the date for the primaries shall not be earlier than what? Shall not be earlier than 120 days and not later than 90 days before the date of elections to the offices, which gives INEC just 30 days window. Now, if you say not earlier than 120 days and not later than 90 days, that's 30 days, isn't it? But how feasible is it for INEC? You have to give 21 days notice to INEC to say that you want to conduct primaries. It is from these 30 days. So when you deduct 21 days out of 30, how many days left? 9. Now, all 91 parties are now going to have their primaries in 9 days and determine and process their nomination in 9 days. How feasible is that? But it's not even, that's one leg of the issue. The second leg is this subsection 31, and this section 31 I read earlier, which says every political party shall not later than 60 days to the general election determine, forward the list. So it's talking about nomination, this section 31. So, but you are saying 30 days here, you are saying 60 days there. Yeah. Which one should we believe? Is it the 30 or the 60? So there's these things that they can sit within 5 hours and deal with all the referencing issues. So with clerical, and when you talk about clerical errors, look at this. This is section 18 yes. Subsection 1B. It says no person shall issue a replacement. Replacement of what? Replacement to any voter on polling day or later. Instead of saying replacement of permanent voters card, you are silent on that replacement. Now look at section 34, subsection 2. It says any candidate who observes his name or that of his party missing on the distribution of ballot papers list published in accordance with subsection 1 shall notify the whatever. Now this is not, look at this word, distribution of ballot papers. This is section 34. Let's go to the Principal Act in section 34. What does the section 34 of the Principal Act says? It says the commission shall, at least 30 days before the day of election, publish by displaying or causing to be displayed at the relevant offices of the commission and on the commission's website a statement of the what? Full names and addresses of all candidates. This subsection 34.1 that is being referred to here in this section 34, which is being referred to in subsection 1, is talking of what? Statement of the full names and addresses. But this one is talking of distribution of ballot papers. Is distribution of ballot papers same as publishing full names and addresses of candidates? You can see that it just doesn't tally. So these are some of the glaring errors that I found. And in section 36, that talked about replacement of a candidate that dies in between election. There is when a candidate in an election dies, it says section 36 of the Principal Act, which this is the Principal Act, is amended by inserting after subsection 2 a new subsection 3, which says if after the commencement of poll and before the announcement of the final results and declaration of a winner, a nominated candidate dies, what shall happen? The commission shall being satisfied of the fact of the death, suspend the election for a period of not exceeding 21 days. B, the political parties who candidate that may, if it intends to continue to participate in the election, conduct a fresh primary within 7 days. Now, it's a good provision, but there is an issue. The issue is this. Let's assume, as in Osun State now, they are going to have their governorship election next year. There are 48 candidates. Some of those 48 candidates know that even in their ward, they cannot win. But they want to be governor to make up the number. And there are reasons for why they do that. It's a bargaining chip. It's to profit, from it. But that is a discussion for another time. The point is this. It would have been better if they say, if a leading candidate dies, as was the case in Kogi, Prince Abubakar Audu, because that's why this provision was made, to legitimize what the Supreme Court has said about Kogi election. Recall that when that happened in November 2015, when Kogi governorship election was holding, and before the conclusion, the candidate of APC died. INEC consulted his lawyers, and the lawyer said the party, APC, should be allowed to field a fresh candidate. Of course, the PDP candidate, who was there, the incumbent governor in Kogi State, went to court to challenge that Audu died and Audu's vote has been buried with him. But the APC and the Yahya Bello went to court, and it was discovered and it was said that, look, no, INEC was right to have asked APC to replace its dead candidate. Now, this is just to legitimize it. But let's assume that it's just one party that does not even have any clout and nobody knows. You suspend the election for 21 days. and then you ask them to make a replacement, and the election have to be repeated. Look at the cost to the economy. This person ordinarily will not make much impact on the election. Why not restrict it to the leading candidate? I don't know whether you get my
understand.
But even, I mean, we can even live with this. If we want to continue to waste money, we can leave it there.
Okay.
But the issue is, these glaring clerical errors, cross-referencing errors, illegal drafting, as I've pointed out, would you have advised the president to have assented to that bill, given those errors that we have pointed out, knowing full well that when he raised issue about the budget in June and said he had to just sign because of exigency of time, that he has serious issues with some of the items that were passed, and he raised the issue about the constituency projects and all of that, which is now why he is asking the National Assembly to appropriate money for election from the over 500 billion constituency project money that the National Assembly included. But because he has signed, he has signed. Now what is happening now? Linear, they are pushing it to each other.
Okay, now
the National Assembly is saying, okay, we are going to give 143 billion, but that money should not be from our own constituency project. It should be from service-wide fund or special intervention project fund. So if he didn't sign then until the writing was done, it could not. It will not have this aftermath effect that it has had.
Okay, now at this point, now that the president has refused to assent, or the president has declined rather to assent to the bill, in your own thoughts, what should be the next step for the lawmakers?
I'd urge that they reconvene expeditiously. In fact, as a patriot, I expected them to have reconvened this week to say, oh, could that be true? First, they owe us an explanation. Which version did they send to the president?
Okay.
Is it the one of June or the one that we currently are, analyzing? Because it may well be that, that sometimes last year, if you follow the budget debate, I'm talking of 2017 budget debate, there were different versions of the budget in circulation. Recall that they said they don't even, the budget has different versions. So we don't know whether this also now have different versions, because we are talking of third version now. Is it this third version that was sent, or is it the second version that was resent? Or, we need to know that. Secondly, is for the National Assembly to actually reconvene urgently to deal with two issues. This issue of electoral reform as well as the budget for 2019. Because even though we may live with the reform as currently is, even if we cannot move forward on this, I would love a situation where we will have a new amendment to the Electoral Act. But if it doesn't come, heavens will not fall. But we cannot do election without money. So, and you possibly have heard that members of the National Assembly are pushing for reconvening, are pushing their coming back from recess till second week in October. Why? They are supposed to resume on September 25, but they said that is why their primaries is ongoing, that they have to be allowed to conclude their primary, and primaries will end on October 8th. So they are now saying that the earliest time that they can be allowed, or they should be allowed to reconvene, is second week in October. Can we wait for second week of October to start deliberating on the authenticity or otherwise of... I know it's been done in the past like that, but it's not ideal, and it will not help us if we fail to conclude this electoral reform early enough. Because as it is, one thing is to pass the bill, one thing is to assent to the bill, one thing is for members of the public to know about the...
Okay, now let's still talking about
provisions of the bill.
Still talking about the bill now. The first time Buhari withheld assent to the bill, now he said it interferes with INEC's constitutional powers. Now, what is your take on the federal lawmakers' bid to change the order of elections?
I was vehemently opposed to it, and for a good reason. There are different permutations. I did a research on the order of elections from First Republic. There is nothing we have not tried. Are you with me? In 2015, we have the presidential and National Assembly election first, together, which is what INEC is still proposing. Recall, on March 28th, it was supposed to be on February 14th. They postponed the election for 6 weeks. So on March 28th, we have the presidential and National Assembly elections. 3 elections were held simultaneously. Then the second leg of the election was in April. Now, why do you want to reorder the sequence? You now not only reordering the sequence, but you now added 1 more day, which will have increased the budget for election by 30%. And for me, when you, if that has stood, if that had been the position, there is what is called voting fatigue. You ask people to come out today, then next 2 weeks, then, and you are shutting down the economy the whole period that the election is holding. Nothing gets done. Restriction of movement. Businesses shut down. Can the economy that is ailing like ours, which is just getting out of recession, can it survive that? And of what advantage does having the presidential, or of what disadvantage does having the presidential and National Assembly election confer on members of the National Assembly? That they just want to have their own election separate, and then presidential election last, and then having governorship and state house of assembly election middle. No. In fact, that's part of the mischief of what they did in section 87, subsection 13 of this. See, they reordered the sequence of primaries. What did they write here? They said the National Assembly election will come first, and National Assembly primaries will come first, followed by the State House of Assembly, followed by governorship and presidential primaries. Do we need to have this when this could even happen simultaneously to save cost and logistics? Now, my position in March this year, and I was privileged to speak on different media platforms, was, look, we can and we should actually work towards having all the 6 elections in one day. If you recall, the August 8, 2017 election in Kenya, all the elections were held on the same day. 6 elections. I seated there, I've been privileged to observe elections across the world. I was in US in 2010. I noticed that more than 10 elections were held same day during that midterm election in 2010. You have election to Board of Education, election to amend the Constitution, election to Board of Health Ministry, and several other elections on the same day. And you know the advantage that will confer on our electoral process, Lillian, if all elections were to be held on the same day, it will improve the voters' turnout. Sure. Because right now, when you have segregated and what is it called, staggered elections, as we currently are having, as I said earlier on, there will be voter apathy. The first election, there will be huge turnout. By the second one, there will be decline. By the third one, you hardly will see people. And because election is not compulsory in Nigeria like it is in Australia. Do you know that INEC told us at one of the stakeholders meeting that they had a federal House of Reps by-election in, was it Lagos, somewhere in Lagos. Federal election, federal House of Reps. And only 9% voter turnout was recorded. 9, I say 9, not even up to 10% of people on the registered voter turn out to vote. And you are electing a representative, federal representative, not even State House of Assembly, not councillor. You are recording 9% turnout. So what I'm saying is that we can save a lot of cost. If we have all these elections, there are 6 elections coming up in next year. Area council, State House of Assembly, governorship, Senate, House of Reps, and the presidential election. All of this can be held,
in one day.
All you just need to do is to have 6 ballot boxes. So each ballot box for each of the election. Yes, the sorting counting may take a little more time, but you will not pay people twice or 3 times as you will have to do, and you know the huge cost of personnel. You know, about 78 billion is being, even if this 143 billion is given to INEC this year, about 78 billion for payment of personnel and fueling and other miscellaneous is to be funded from 2019 budget.
Okay. Now, sorry for cutting you short. Now, at this point, what do you think is the implication of this back and forth on the 2019 election?
Very ominous. Very, very, it may rub off negatively.
Okay.
Because, like I said, there are very many good provisions. In spite of the clerical errors and drafting errors I've pointed out, there are still many provisions that are good. And I can point out some of them to us. There is a provision in this bill now that says, for instance, if a candidate dies, it's a very good provision. The one that says the provision that tried to let me see now. The one that the one that talked about there is one that a returning officer of collation who intentionally collates or announces false result commits an offence and is liable on conviction to a term of at least 5 years in prison. It's a good one. So nobody gets to declare false result.
Okay.
It has increased penalty for some of electoral offences and all of that. But one thing we must be mindful of is this. One thing is to have the law. The other is the attitude of the implementers of the law. Law alone will not solve our issues. We have attitudinal issues. We have implementation issues. And we must not forget, Lillian, to highlight the fact that in spite of all the controversies that's happening, we have had some improvement in our legal regime for conducting elections. Recall the Not Too Young to Run. It's a constitutional amendment. The last time we have a successful constitutional amendment was in 2010. That was 8 years ago. The one that now gives, the constitutional amendment that now gives INEC more days, from 7 days to 21 days, to conduct runoff election, or the run election rather, which is also a constitutional amendment, which the president signed on June 8th. Okay. It's also a very good one. It's going to rub up positively because you know what it means. Hitherto, we have only 7 days to conduct runoff. So if there is no clear-cut winner of a presidential election, under our current law, before that constitutional amendment was made, INEC has just 7 days to conduct runoff among the 2 leading candidates. But now the constitution has been amended then there is also the constitutional amendment to deregister parties that don't have membership or that use false document to get registered. There is also the constitutional amendment that gives financial autonomy to State House of Assembly and the State Judiciary. There is a constitutional amendment that talks about if you served out the term of your principal, that's either president or governor, you cannot do more than one other term.
Okay,
then there is one that now says that all pre-election matters should be concluded before the election. These are beautiful constitutional amendments that will rub off positively on 2019 election. The only thing is that instead of a corresponding amendment to back it with this Electoral Act amendment, that will affect us better. But unfortunately, that is not coming.
Now let's go now away from that now to the role of the media so far. Now let's look at the role of the media in all this. How would you describe the reportage of this Electoral Act Amendment Bill and the controversy so far? How do you describe the media reportage so far? Well,
media is reporting based on available evidence to them. Okay. And I won't blame the media. Like I said, I wrote about this in my column in the Punch newspaper last week Wednesday. And the title of that article, which is available online and in print, is 2019 elections, no funding, no electoral reform. So it's somebody who read it, who said, oh, Jide, are you even aware of the version of the electoral bill that was sent to the president for assent? I said, no. He said, do you know that there is even no mention of smart card reader in it? I said, wow, that is interesting. She said, don't worry, I will send you a copy. And that's how I get to her. And I'm sure not even many people who are covering National Assembly have what I have.
Now, talking about the National Assembly correspondent now, do you think a large chunk of the blame should go to them?
No. Because this is about Freedom of Information Act. Okay. I think if we are not hiding anything, we should have made available to the public what was transmitted for public scrutiny. At least if they don't want us to know when they transmitted, to give the president that prerogative of, we should, when the issues come up like this, we should be able to have it. Okay. But I'm sure many correspondents in the National Assembly do not even have this. And not only that, you know, I faced a challenge. This law that was signed way back on May 31st, that's not too young to run bill, and the 4 bills that the president signed on June 8th. Mm-hmm. Do you know I've not cited a copy now? I've been looking everywhere. I wanted to have copy, authentic gazetted copy. But no, nowhere. They say, oh, they have to do the gazetting in Lagos. It will take a little while. When many laws are passed and you can't see, you don't even know of their existence. What will media report, if not hearsay, if not what they hear from politicians whom they go to interview? So I won't blame the media for whether misinformation or for half-truth or whatever. It's just they are reacting to what like yesterday, Governor Nyesom Wike was still saying that the president didn't sign the bill because they are planning to rig 2019 elections. But you know something worries me? What worries me is this development of yesterday, where the president is now thinking, or the Federal Executive Council now just thought it twice, to send 3 electoral amendments to the National Assembly. At what point? They are now trying to implement Senator Kainina Amani Electoral Reform Committee report. They are talking of sending an executive electoral act amendment of this electoral act. They are talking of Electoral Offences Commission bill. They are talking of one other bill. And I'm asking, Kainina Amani committee report was submitted since October last year. It's almost a year. A year after. And as at that time, the National Assembly has almost concluded work on its own version of the electoral bill. So, or the amendment of the Electoral Act. So why did the presidency delay? Just the same way they delayed the issue of environment for 2019 election till July 2018. They are also delaying their own attempts to amend the legal framework, and it now smacks of something. Could it be that beyond what we are discussing about the cross-referencing error and all of that, that the presidency wants its own version to be the authentic version?
No, we don't know about that yet. Now, finally,
if
really
that
quickly,
is it, it's not fair on the Nigerian, because the president should have done this like last year. Not this late.
Now, because of time, we're actually running out of time. Now, finally, and really quickly now before we go, is there any chance that the delay in this election passage and the electoral bill controversy could lead to a shift in the election dates?
It's not impossible. Even though INEC has repeatedly, even up to yesterday, INEC is debunking the plan to shift the election. But, of course, we know what played that last general election. when was the election postponed? A week to election. Isn't it? We were talking of election of February 14. The postponement came on February 7 when everybody was ready, and they just realized that, oh, insurgency will not allow us to have free election. Oh, only 60% of voters have collected their PVC, so election had to be postponed for 6 weeks. For me, maybe INEC is still hoping and praying that the window, about 150 days, that they still have to the next general election, they can do some damage control and they will not need to postpone election. But the way it is seeming to me now, there is every likelihood, unless our patriotic zeal or the patriotism on the part of both the president and the National Assembly comes to play and they are able to rise above their partisan interest. Because right now, you know what is trending is impeachment of the principal officer. Today, we don't know whether Dogara is still in APC or whether he has defected to PDP, because he has bought form, but he didn't tell anybody under which platform that he bought the form of the party. So, and you know, Oshiomhole has sworn to his great-grandfather's grave that he will see to their removal and impeachment. So, while we are doing all of that and we leave the major issue of governance, the major challenge of coming up with good laws to help deepen our democracy, it will not all go well. And the only way is either we abandon this electoral reform altogether, and decide and stay put on using the 2015 amendment of the Electoral Act to conduct 2019 election, or we postpone the election to give sufficient time for the amendment of the legal framework and for the funding to be made available. Like I said earlier on, it's not even the issue of legal framework is even secondary to me. It's the funding that is the cocoa. Because as it is, when you don't have money, and many of the sensitive materials that INEC will use for its election is not bought in Nigeria. It's not stockpiled in any warehouse like Onitsha or Bogonogo market in Delta. It's not anywhere. And the procurement procedure is very long. It takes an average of 6 months. And for instance, INEC is going to buy at least minimum of 27,000 smart card reader.
Okay, at this point,
where is the money coming from? So there are a lot of things I think we need to tidy up. I know that in 2010, National Assembly invoked doctrine of necessity to empower the vice president to become. They can also do same now. Let them cut short their recess before their primaries will start. Let them devote 1 or 2 days to tidy up on this, whatever corrections needed to be made on this electoral amendment bill, and then pass the budget for the president to assent to, so that money can be quickly released. The good thing is that the funding of INEC is now on first line charge.
Okay.
So the issue of having to go capital now to Minister of Finance, to CBN, to budget office does not arise. Once it is approved, it comes into INEC fund. Okay. But we need time. We are raising against time now, because I know as an election person that election is a process, it's not an event.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for giving us this deep insight. I myself, I didn't even have, I wish I would probably photocopy this and look at it much later. Yeah, but then it's actually been an educative session here on Inside Story this week, and I hope to see you again same time, same station next week for more insightful and educative episode. Do stay tuned on PTV. I am Lilian Ogazi, and have a great day ahead.
News24 Extra is taking it up a notch. You can now have news curated to your interest anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store on iOS. Search News24 Extra. Download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news in politics, entertainment, lifestyle, sports, and much more. So stay connected with News24 Extra. News at your fingertips.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Hello there and welcome to Kissing Africana. I'm your host Lilian Ogazi. Now today I have an amazing chef and a very short, interesting meal. This week again.
Yeah, this week again we have something super amazing.
Okay, last week was amazing and then this week it is super amazing. So what are we preparing this week that is super amazing?
What we have to make today is called Ikira Nyicho. Now, Icho is a name for what I am.
Okay.
Then Ikira is the Ikira made from Icho. So
what is Ikira first? Is Ikira made from Icho?
The name given to
sounds like Akara.
Yes, but I don't want to use the word Akara because in my language we call it Ikira.
So Ikira Nyicho?
Yes, that's to cakes made from what I am.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono.
One of the reasons for the crowd in the banking hall have to do with the bulk of people who use the ATM.
One of the banks happened to be one of our very old banks. Okay, they were doing that. They've been doing that for quite a while. You know, the level of education usually are not compared to education for those with current accounts. Yeah. Okay, so when you have the situation.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Jonathan. With me today,
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
As usual, I am excited today. Like AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, the thoughts of the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
That made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask these people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Thomas Sankara was born into a Catholic family. Sankara belonged to an ethnic group that originated with marriage between Mosi men and women from the pastoralist Fulani people. After basic military training in secondary school in 1966, Sankara began his military career at the age of 19, and a year later he was sent to Madagascar for officer training at Antsirabe, where he witnessed popular uprisings in 1971 and 1972. After he returned to Upper Volta in 1972, in 1974 he fought in a border war between Upper Volta and Mali. In 1976, he became the commander of the Commando Training Center in Pau and was appointed Secretary of the State for Information in the military government in September 1981. He attended his first cabinet meeting on a bicycle, but he resigned on April 21, 1982 in opposition to what he saw as the regime's anti-labor drift, declaring misfortune to those who gag the people. After another coup in November 7, 1982, which brought Major Dr. Jean-Baptiste Couedro to power, Sankara became Prime Minister in January 1982.
Hello and welcome to PTV Today. My name is Paulum David. After accepting the resignation of Kemi Adeosun, President Muhammadu Buhari has redeployed Zainab Ahmed to the ministry. Ahmed was until Friday the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning. Adeosun had resigned after an internal investigation had proved that her NYSC exemption certificate was not genuine. The Finance Minister had in her resignation letter expressed shock that the certificate was a forgery. She said, quote, "This has come as a shock to me, and I believe that in line with this administration's focus on integrity, I must do the honorable thing and resign," unquote. And also Nigerian security, the Nigerian Navy authorities have committed to the sustenance of democracy in Nigeria. Chief of Naval Staff Ibok Ete disclosed this in a third quarter route march of the Nigerian Navy which held in Abuja on Saturday. He was presented by Navy's Director of Administration, Rear Admiral Jatau Local.
Marching with vigor, passion, and in accordance with their slogan, which says, "Onward Together." These are naval officers en route on one of Abuja's major highways. The route march is meant to cover a few kilometers, and one of its aims is to ensure physical fitness and mental alertness of naval personnel for the task at hand. After the long march, officers and ratings return for more workouts. It's time for the Chief of Naval Staff's goodwill message, but not without this protocol.
I am indeed delighted to present goodwill message from the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral I.E. Ibas, on the occasion of the just concluded third quarter route march 2018. It is important to state that operational efficiency and combat readiness are predicated on mental and physical fitness of the armed forces. Therefore, this exercise is aimed at developing personnel towards enhancing physical and mental alertness to meet the dynamics of contemporary security operations.
The Navy also expressed its commitment to entrenching democracy.
We are to give all the necessary support for any administration to succeed. And in this case, in this era of democracy, the Nigerian Navy is giving all the support by movement of materials and several others, and providing background protection for those who are going to be engaged during the electioneering period.
It was a successful third quarter road march, and we've heard from the Nigerian Navy is security guaranteed, and most importantly, guarantee security for the 2019 election, that is the support for democracy. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
The Nigerian Air Force has established 2 additional quick response units in Nasarawa and Agatu in Benue State. This is part of its response to current and emerging security challenges in the country. Chief of Air Staff Sadiq Abubakar disclosed this during the passing out parade of 1,558 new officers in Kaduna.
What is important is that we are building the required capacity. There will always be problems. What is important is for you to understand the nature of the problem and then find solutions. One of the solutions is to build capacity, the required capacity, to be able to deal with these challenges. We have, so here today, over 1,500 recruits. And when I look at them as the file pass, I see excitement, I see patriotism, I see the desire to get out there to add value to what we're doing. So I think certainly with their graduation is going to add value to what we are doing, how we are addressing some of these problems we talked about. Remember that we have restructured the Air Force. There are so many units now. 2 units are coming up immediately. The Quick Response Wing in Doma, in Nasarawa State, and then the Quick Response Wing in Agatu. So you need required manpower to really be able to man some of these units. And I think with this graduation, it will certainly make it much easier for us to man those places, if possible, to ensure that Nigeria is secure. And security is not about the military alone. Even you have a role to play. Security is every person's business. We must have the right intelligence, and the only way you get intelligence from the communities, from civilians around. Okay, I'm not saying they are not helping us, but what I can tell you is that what I want to remind you is that security encompasses so many things. It's not just about.
A coalition of civil rights groups wants Nigerians to disregard what it calls dark forces, also distract the army from its onslaught against terrorism. The coalition of United Patriots and Statesmen described corruption allegation against Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai as a ploy to mislead Nigerians. This is not the first time allegations are raised against Buratai, but this right group is insisting that the army chief is blameless.
The group masquerading itself as the authentic CUPS and registered in the United Kingdom has failed to point out how and where it arrived at the allegation that Chief of Army Staff is incompetent in the face of aggressive insurgency, or where this action or inaction constitute criminal negligence, or where he had lent himself to act of corruption or conspiracy to defraud the Nigerian states, or where any of his actions amounted to treachery. A keen observer of the actions of the Chief of Army Staff will realize that all these allegations are not non-existent, but wickedly concocted for reasons not relating to security issues at all. The Chief of Army Staff has, since joining the Army, won some of the best awards and medals that the discipline offers and had served in very responsible positions while giving good account of himself in all the assignments given to him. For somebody to wake up and accuse such a fine officer of incompetence shows that the person either does not know the meaning of the word.
The federal government says the new minimum wage will be operational before the 2019 elections. Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige gave the assurance against the backdrop of an ultimatum by organized labour. Ngige said this after the Minimum Wage Committee held a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari.
For anybody now to say that the government is stalling or playing games, that would be unacceptable, because we are doing what we're supposed to do. We have interests of workers at heart. We have not retrenched anybody. There is no embargo on employment. There are no embargo on promotions. We are paying backlog of promotion areas. We are paying backlog of transfers and repatriation and the rest of them all. So, and we are giving them houses under fish and other things. So this government is a labor-friendly government, and we must put smiles on their faces before the next election. The problem we have now is that some states are not paying even the present minimum wage. So you must go along with them. And any figure you put in must not be such that can cause disequilibrium in the economy.
We have been working very hard, and I believe everything is on course. I expect our report will be ready this month, inshallah, by the grace of God.
The All Progressives Congress have described Speaker Yakubu Dogara as a political paperweight whose defection did not come as a surprise. The party said this through its spokesman Yekini Nabena, that it was a matter of time, judging by what it says is his anti-party antics in the National Assembly. APC said the Speaker had, in conversation with the Senate President Bukola Saraki, been exploiting all available avenues to sabotage and undermine the APC-led executive. The ruling party added that Dogara was not on ground in Bauchi State and predict a crushing and humiliating defeat for him next year in his bid to return to the House of Representatives. Mixed reactions have trailed the defection of Speaker Yakubu Dogara to the People's Democratic Party. Now, while some say the defection won't affect his chances of returning, others say it will.
It is no more news that Speaker Dogara has dumped the ruling APC. Some Nigerians say they are not surprised at his defection. They are also convinced that it will not affect his chances of returning to the House of Representatives.
Candidate can defect, and Dogara will have a reform APC and will have APC. So that kind of division, I will have some parallel election they have on other states. So Dogara has a constitutional right to defect, and they can see the change parameter. Change has changed now because the whole Nigeria United States saying they should change the change, because the rate of situation, the situation in the country that shows that the APC has failed. That's why the PDP now is what people are clamoring for to come to take over the government. So Dogara is obeying the cries of the people. You can see it's not Dogara that bought the form. It's the people that bought the form and presented it to him. And if you remember the last senatorial election he did in Bauchi State, the 4 local governments that covered the Dogara's zone, the PDP won. That shows that the people, he heard the cry of the people. That's why he defected to the PDP.
Defection is a good thing, because if you look at the international papers, international companies talking about Nigeria and the economy, you see the most practice is about economy of Nigeria, and no person in this right senses will see the suffering and hardship of people, and you want people to support the government. You understand? So the Dogara defection is a subtle way of telling people of Nigeria that the Buhari APC-led government is a sham. That is it. So now, in terms of his chances, is from that Bogoro and Tafa local government. That area is his stronghold. So there's no way, even though he joins any party, even though it's UPP or any new party, he will still win his election. So the defection will not make him not to come back. He will surely come back, whichever party he joins.
Dogara to defect to PDP now is not a surprise to me. I knew that he's going to defect based on the way the APC government are running their government.
One of the respondents had a different opinion.
In his defection, to me, I saw it on the ground of a selfish motive, because
the People's Oriented Bill, we expect that he should have passed. He's unable to do any of them. Rather, he was busy fighting in order for relevancy in the Nigeria political space. So, but however, within the Bauchi for the constituency where he's coming from, yeah, I think the previous rerun, that is the by-election that was conducted in Bauchi, is a statement of, it's a big statement to him. And that will explain the direction of where they are going in the general election. In my very opinion, I believe that he should resign honorably. Otherwise, he will suffer a serious defeat.
It is almost certain that Speaker Dogara would get an automatic ticket to return to the House of Representatives, but it remains to be seen if it will be an easy ride for him. Palang Bukar, PTV, Abuja.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is ready for effective monitoring of the primaries of the 91 political parties. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC in Anambra, Nwachukwu Oji, made this known in Oka at the quarterly meeting of the Interagency Consultative Meeting of Election Security. Oji said through the number of political parties, and though the number recently increased to 91, the Commission had put in place measures for effective monitoring of the primaries. The Youth Initiative Advocacy Growth and Advancement Africa is making case for laws to check vote buying. YAGA Executive Director Samson Itodo made a call at watching the vote series in Abuja. He argued that the trend of vote buying is a major threat to democracy.
The issue of reversing vote buying and selling will generally involve economic empowerment of citizens. That we will have to go beyond the casual, not necessarily casual, but the tinkering of the structure of or the design of the polling units. Yes, very, very important. But that in itself is not sufficient to actually reduce the incidence of vote buying and selling in our elections, because our politicians are devising new means and new strategies of buying and procuring votes. And one of the fundamental questions is, in the event or if politicians or voters desist from selling their votes at the polling station, or the polling stations are reconfigured in a way that it protects the secrecy of the ballot, what happens few meters out of the polling station? How do you guarantee or how do you enforce the law in such instances where the vote buying actually takes place meters away from the polling station?
Now we are confronted by another challenge as a nation and as a commission, and that is the menace of vote buying. We have said it over and over that it's a challenge, it's a shame to our electoral process, it's a cancer. Get all the adjectives in the world to describe vote buying, all the negative adjectives. And we're on the same page on that. We will rise to this challenge, just as we have risen to previous challenges to our electoral processes before. We will overcome vote buying. The problem is hydra-headed, and therefore requires a number of approaches involving all and sundry: INEC, the security agencies, political parties, civil society organizations, the media, and most obviously, citizens themselves. We all have to come together to address this challenge.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed optimism that new investment commitments are coming into Nigeria's textile sector. He noted that Aba in Abia State is a major beneficiary and is convinced that it will be actualized within the shortest possible time. President Buhari gave the assurance while receiving traditional rulers from Abia State led by Dr. Isaac Okonne, NE1 of Aba.
It's yet another set of August visitors at the presidential villa. This time, the southeastern monarchs have deemed it fit to visit the president. It's a high-powered delegation led by Isaac Ikoni, who at the height of the 2015 campaign gave Buhari a chieftaincy title. More than 3 years later, he is at the presidential villa. The visit provides the president an opportunity to unfold his plans for the Southeast region. The president assured his visitors that the APC-led government will continue to maintain the sovereignty of Nigeria while protecting the livelihood of hardworking and honest citizens. He said security and infrastructure will not be left out. For their part, the monarchs commended the president for the rehabilitation of federal routes in the area, including Enugu-Aba, Port Harcourt Expressway, Port Harcourt-Elele-Owerri Road, and Enugu-Onitsha Expressway.
In 2015, the president was given the title of Ogbuagu, that is the lion killer. That time there was predominantly one lion facing him, but today there are so many lions rearing their heads. That is why we have named him now to the Ogbuagu Buruburu of Aba, which means all the lions that are rearing their heads, let them be rest assured, as the other lions were killed, so shall they be killed too. So that's what we are saying. That's our message, that Igbos, the Southeasterners, will join.
As a nation, our people have been working hard to build a nation in line with the dreams of our founding fathers. But in that respect, our successes have been limited by lack of political will, by lack of political stability, and by lack of unity amongst the various constituencies making up Nigeria. But in the life of a great nation, challenging times like this produce men of courage, men of capacity, men who are committed to nation building. And in Mr. President, we have a man like that.
The people of Aba, the desire an Aba person who will fix Aba and put it in a proper shape. Age is on our side, and they know also we're experienced. And with our relationship at the national level, in terms of attracting federal presence, it will help us to move Abia forward. And considering our wealth of knowledge when it comes to governance, and by God's grace that is bestowed upon us, we have brighter chances, and we hope by God's grace at the end of the day we will emerge victorious.
They also hailed Buhari's anti-graft initiatives.
A delegation of Ogoni leaders have visited President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. The leaders want a state honor for late activist Ken Saro-Wiwa. They also conversed for an opportunity to produce the next governor of Rivers State. The Ogoni leaders were led by the president of Supreme Council of the Ogoni traditional rulers, King J.N.K. Gininwa.
For how many years has this award and re-award has been taking place? And this administration is only 3 years old. And I believe you must have seen the efforts being made. And I have to mention something which I believe you know by your position. The opportunities God gave this country between 1999 and 2014. The average production, I challenge a number of people who are writing on daily basis to castigate this administration, to check in Europe, Asia, and America. The average production 1999 to 2014 is 2.1 million barrels a day. As the average cost of $100 American per barrel, it went up to 143. But when we came, it crashed to 37, 38, and oscillated for some time between 40 and 50. It's now gradually going up. It's up to 80 for reasons of which can only be explained by international fluctuation of the market.
As we speak, efforts are being made to ensure that remediation effort starts in Ogoni, and we are indeed very, very grateful. We are also very, very grateful because we have seen that democracy has come to stay in Nigeria, and it is our earnest desire that after 50 years of the union of Rivers people in Rivers State, that the Ogoni people should be able to have the opportunity to provide leadership in terms of producing the governor in Rivers State in 2019. And that's an earnest call. And so that's why today we have been able to come to the seat of power to be able to ensure that the yearnings and the aspiration of the Ogoni people is met. And so we are very, very grateful because we know very well that there are sort of infrastructure need of Ogoni people, especially the East-West Road that has become a death trap. And we are very, very happy that with the commitment of Mr. President, as we are going back home, effort will be made to ensure that that road is put back to use.
The process is on, and this is also an opportunity that is not always there. So we also brought to the attention of the President issues relating to security, issue relating to how to get Ogoni people involved, particularly in the running of his administration. We also raised concern about even the environmental challenge we have in Rivers State today, even beyond the issue of oil spill pollution, the issue of black soot that has taken over the entire state, and it appeared the state and the local government also helpless. We brought all that to the attention of Mr. President.
The title he gave to the president is Menedo Lenu of Ogoni. That's the king that does good things for the Ogoni people. So the president is part of us, and he has shown that special relationship with the Ogoni people. So there is no condition for whatever the president wants from us. We do for him.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has activated 5 emergency operation centers and situation rooms in Nigeria. This is says as a result of the prospect of incessant rainfall in the northwest and north central states the next 72 hours. NEMA Director General Mustapha Mehaja disclosed this as an emergency press briefing in Abuja.
Nigeria is on the verge of a flood disaster, so it was not surprising that President Buhari gave NEMA powers to activate Military Disaster Response Unit for search and rescue operations. It is against this backdrop that the agency summoned a meeting of all emergency response teams. Soon, the emergency response unit went into a closed-door meeting, and 1 hour later, it was time to reel out the outcome.
NIMET has reported that from today to the next 72 hours, there will be continuous rain in the north, the central, and the southern states of Nigeria. The NISA has reported also today the level at the measuring station at the confluence of River Niger and Benue at Lokoja is 10.98 meters. This confirms that the value is still increasing, the level is still increasing, and with a threatening inflow at Lagdo Dam, with a level as at yesterday recorded at 21.4 meters, when compared to the highest level they will be forced to discharge, was given at 21.6 meters. That means we are left with 0.2 meters or 200 millimeters or 20 centimeters to get to that level. The continuous inflow makes it really more worrisome. There was a report also from the Benin Republic that Malanville, a town or location monitored, has reached to a level that it has never reached in the past few years. The record or the data or information revealed as in Malanville, downstream is Jeba and Shiroro. That means the discharge or spilling from Jeba and Shiroro will continue.
NEMA has promised to keep Nigerians updated as new development unfolds regarding the anticipated flooding. It expects the water level to reach that of the 2012 flood, which affected many parts of the country. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
For more news, you can download our app. It's PTV Nigeria from our Google Play Store on Android and iOS. You can also watch us live at www.ptvng.com/live. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and at PTV_NG. And that's it on PTV today. Many thanks for watching. My name is Pollum David. Do stay on PTV.
Usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
that made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
News 24 Extra is taking it up a notch. You can now have news curated to your interest anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store on iOS. Search News 24 Extra. Download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news in politics, entertainment, lifestyle, sports, and much more. So stay connected with News Extra. News at your fingertips.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Vote buying is an offense under the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, and it falls under bribery, and the law frowns at it. It is bad for the electoral process. It is bad for our democracy. It is something that political parties shouldn't be engaging in. For us, it's an indication that our processes have been so strengthened that the political parties are now aware that it is very difficult, if not impossible, to rig elections. They have seen that it's a waste of time to snatch ballot boxes or to attack our staff at polling units or attempt to force some result they must have manufactured somewhere on us, because the processes are strengthened, they are strong, and they are foolproof. So I think what they now resort to for those who engage in it is to try and persuade voters on the election day by trying to give them some money as an incentive to sway their minds to vote for their own party. And it is not right. We are determined to tackle it. We already, the chairman of INEC has asked the Inspector General of Police for assistance, and that is being done. And we are also stepping up the process by asking political parties. During our meetings, we have been emphasizing on the need for them to respect provisions of the law so that this democracy that we are nurturing will succeed, and we have that commitment from them. Even when we are registering new political parties, we also try to emphasize this necessity to follow the due process and to follow the law. And of course, we're also stepping up the voter education element by appealing to Nigerians that it is not right for you to sell your vote, because when you sell your vote, you know you cannot ask questions over the next 4 years, and you cannot hold the politician accountable, because he can then easily tell you that he has paid for your vote and you cannot question him. And for us, it's even, you know, an insult for somebody to offer you 4,000 or 5,000 naira for you to vote for me. I mean, is that what you are really worth? Is that what your vote is worth? So these are the kind of things that we want to encourage Nigerians not to, you know, give in to this pressure by some politicians to make them commit what in any case is an offense. Vote buying has been with us for many, many years. It's not a new phenomenon. It's been there for a long time. It's just that now it's becoming probably stronger than what it used to be. Ballot box snatching is also an old phenomenon. It's not new. All of these things are grouped under electoral violence. And the purpose of everything is to either disrupt the election itself or to sway votes in favor of your political party, and that's why you engage in all these things. But these things are wrong, because what the law envisages is not just those who commit the offense, it's not just the taker and the giver. The law goes in as far as you know, identifying those who have the knowledge, that is, those who encourage these things to happen, what some have described as a mother spider. So when you are arrested and you now give the names of those who provided the money, for instance, or those you held meetings with, is also an offense. The law takes that into cognizance and you can be brought to book. And so we encourage Nigerians to please stop this aspect of vote buying and selling, because democracy is about choosing people out of free will. In other words, you are a political party, you have your manifesto, you go to campaign, people listen to you, people try to rationalize, looking at the programs that you have. People who are concerned about education, about health, about infrastructure, about security, about all these issues, they can interrogate your manifesto. You have the opportunity of providing answers when they interrogate you, and then based on that, over time, they are convinced that this is the right party to vote for. But when you offer money, it then means that the essence of democracy will be eroded. All that opportunity is wished away for those who collect the money, because, you know, it then becomes a short-term advantage, because you take that money and then you spend it, and then when it's finished, what else do you have? You then mortgage the future, your own future and the future of your children. Because, look, even if you live up to 60 years old or 100 years old, if they take 4 years, it's still something. And that's the cycle of the election that we have. If you have a president, you can't change him, you can't vote him out until the next 4 years. If you have a governor, you can't do that. If you have a member of the Senate or the Federal House of Reps or the State House of State Assembly, you can't vote them out. So that's the effect. So when we think about these things, and politicians know that we are not going to sell our votes, it will make them get very serious about governance. And that's the essence of it. It will promote and protect our democracy. My name is Rotimi Ekomi. I work with INEC. We have, since 2017, registered over 12 million Nigerians. We still have quite a number of uncollected PVCs. We have just about 500,000 collected. We have about 7 million uncollected. So we appeal to Nigerians to please collect their PVCs. We also want to appeal to Nigerians not to engage in vote buying and selling. Not good for our democracy at all. Please express your choice freely. Don't engage in violence, especially to our youth. Don't allow politicians to persuade you to engage in any form of violence is not good for this country. Democracy is about choice. You have the right to interrogate the manifestos presented by political parties. When they come, ask them questions. What do they have for you in education? What do they have? What programs do they have under health, infrastructure? All the things that you desire for the country to make this country better. And if they provide the answers and you are convinced, then you can, of course, make your choice. Right now, the choice is vast. We have just registered 23 new political parties. Now we have 91 political parties. So if they all present candidates, fine. But if they don't, those that present candidates, you also have the opportunity to make your choice freely. And I wish you all the best. I wish our country all the best. Thank you for listening.
Ours is a country of vast tropical and equatorial woodlands with arid deserts to extensive savanna grasslands, expansive mountains, immense rivers, numerous waterfalls, and mystical forests. Nigeria has it all. It is a place of rhythm, of dance, of music, of festivals, of tradition and culture, of spectacular color, of glamour, and a country of 200 million smiles. And home to a unique people of incomparable passion. A country blessed with breathtaking landscapes. Home to some of the most diverse equatorial flora and fauna species on the earth. Nigeria is the undisputed welcoming heart of Africa. We have 521 unique ethno-linguistic groups. The world's newest and organic language, Pidgin, the world's oldest structural sign language, Hausa Sign Language. In addition to the world's oldest continuous market, the 600-year-old Kurmi market, which is situated within the ancient northern city of Kano, where 1,000-year-old city walls can still be found intact to this day. Nigeria has unique and ancient cultures, traditions and customs, and is steeped in spirituality, with as many Muslims as Christians. We also boast the world's oldest systematic religious philosophical system in Ifa, also known as Afa, and practiced as Santeria, Candomblé, Palo, Ubanda, and Voodoo, and in various countries around the world. Nigeria is also home to the world's oldest purpose-built boat, the 8,500-year-old Ifuna canoe. Nigeria is the home of African sports, both ancient and modern, and has always been the beating heart of African football, which has gifted the world with some of the most dynamic and creative football players of all time. Gifted the world with music and artists such as the late Fela Kuti, King Sunny Ade, Seal, and many international performing artists, including Dame Shirley Bassey and Shadi Adu. Our country has also gifted the world with giants of African literature and poetry. Nigeria is a country on the move, a country of hard-working people and industrious and creative people. Our film industry, known as Nollywood, produces more movies in one day than Hollywood produces in 2 weeks, and is the place of thousands of stars and of millions of wonderfully welcoming, warm people. We are a country of kings, of queens, businessmen, and businesswomen. A place of vast sprawling game parks, a country where African traditions have always been first. A country of drums, of colors, culture, of festivals, of music, of rhythm, and art. This is Nigeria. There is simply nothing quite like it.
Plastic bags. I'll say every day.
Plastic bag. Wow. I might say every day.
There is nothing I make use of in my shop as leather. I dey use about 2 packages of leather every day.
Packing several things, clothes. It could be clothes at times. It could just be maybe items from the market. As in when you buy foodstuffs, even packing other plastic bottles too, and virtually anything that needs to be packed. Most of the times we use plastic bags for them.
If I'm going to somewhere like the market or a shop or something, I will definitely have to use a plastic bag.
For me, my business revolves around that. You can imagine coming to buy a pair of shoes and I'll just give you in your hands. What will happen? Will I ask you to put it in your handbag? No, I can't do without it. And then what if I come to the market and I want to buy tomato or whatever? What happens? Where will I put my stuff?
Leather, they help my business in many ways because of many customers, they cannot buy your market without leather now. They may not be, it will not be portable for them to carry it to their home. So there is portability being using leather in terms of putting the materials, that putting the goods that you have sold to the customers, so that it will be easy to carry to the car for them.
Because I need it for everything. I need it for my waist bin, I need to pack some things, I need it for everything.
I'm a fashion designer. Most times if my clients want to see me, I go with my bags because when I come here, I always come with clothes. That's the reason I'm using it.
Well, it depends on the quality of the plastic bag.
this is the time that the political storm and the political waters is being stirred up. And who are those stirring it up? You want to ask me? Definitely, you know, the big fish in the waters are the ones stirring it up. But there's also this cry by young Nigerians, and the cry is that they want to take over the mantle of leadership. And some political joggers will tell you, are they really ready to take up the mantle of leadership? All right, who knows? But we believe that our tomorrow is right here staring us in the face. And to do justice to some of these topics that we'll be looking at tonight, I have two gentlemen in the studio. They'll be doing justice to all of this. Are they really ready to take up the mantle of leadership? Is the present administration doing very well, you know, that warrants them to be returned back to, you know, power come 2019? All of these will be x-raying tonight. And to do justice to these and more, I have to my far left, Akonji. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and to my closely to me here is Austin Usman. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, Akonji, let me have you very quickly. Do you think that the present administration is doing very well, you know, in maybe virtually every facet of our national life, you know, to warrant their re-election back to power, or do you also think that it's time for the youth to take over the mantle of leadership and then just go out there and do what they need to do?
Thank you very much. I think, and to start with, in the affirmative, I think the federal government, the current administration is doing so much to restore order and sanity in the country. But you know, mind you, like before the government came on board, the government campaigned on three-pronged issues, and those issues were security, economy, and fight against corruption. And if you look at where we were coming from 3 years ago, first of all, we had an economy that was going very close to recession. We climbed into recession when this government came on board. Our foreign reserve was depleted. Now, if you have to look at it from that time till now, we have the largest foreign reserve in Africa right now. Our economic-wise, we're growing. We're diversifying the economy from oil, to agriculture, to mine, to other sectors. And I think we save about $5 million every day for importing rice. That doesn't mean rice importation has stopped, but you can see a deliberate effort of government to see how they can restore order. And security is doing really well, but we have a lot of challenges. We're fighting a war across all flanks, from the northeast to the north central, to the northwest, to the south and southwest and southeast. So, but the country is stabilized, there's stability in the country right now. And I can think that I can give the government beyond pass mark for what they've been doing so far. Now for the youth, really, yes, I'm also a young person, I want the young people to come into power. But you know, one of my godfathers, and someone that I know, my godfather, someone that I have, like my mentor, Bola Tinubu says, power is not served a la carte. You earn it. You can't sit and say because I'm a young person I'll get power. No, you have to be very deliberate. We have the population. But that's not enough. How can we be very strategic in making our population a force to reckon with? And then how can we use our population to get to where we want to get to? So it's not a tea party. We have to be ready. We have to be focused. We have to be determined. We have to walk in tact. We have to be our brother's keepers. And you see the youth, we have this problem of, if you get 10 young Nigerians on keep here and ask one of them to become the president, you find 9 of them want to be president. Instead of saying, among 10 of us now, who among us can we choose to be the president? 9 of us work for that person. So we need to really get back to ourselves and get to the optic. We have technology on our side. We have the age. We have the tact. We have to put all that together and see how we can be able to get what we want in the long run.
Okay, you just made mention of some critical areas where this administration is doing very well.
Yeah.
Now, putting that at the back of your mind, do you think that this administration, will have a lot to contend with when it comes to 2019? Because we've seen some young Nigerians coming out to fight for the office of the presidency come 2019. Do you think this current administration with President Muhammadu Buhari will have an easy sail when it comes to the poll in 2019?
Largely, they'll have an easy sail, because not just the fact that the government has a lot of young people in the government, from the president's office to the vice president's office to the ministers to agencies. You have young Nigerians managing strategic positions there. That's on one note. And two, we want young people to come around and see what they can. But the whole thing is, what do you have? What's your track record? What have you done before? What are you campaigning against right now? Why
is that a yardstick, for you to get to power?
It is. You have to have a track record. Macron of France, who they say is a young president, he was a councillor in Paris, in a very powerful suburb. Before he showed his mantle of leadership there, he became a minister of budget and economy. He showed what he could do there. So when he formed a new party called En Marche, within 1 year, he became the president of France. So he didn't just wake up one morning and say, I want to be president. No, there had to be a record. Where was he? What did he do? Was there anything of excellence? And all through the line, there was something that was so in the past. So yeah, I think we want young people to come into the game. It's very interesting, and they all love young people actually coming out. Well, what's the track record? What have they done? How can they hold this country? How can they keep the country one together as one? This country is quite a very complex country. Do they have the experience, or didn't see all that?
All right, Austin, do you buy into what Ayo just told us?
No, completely I disagree with my friend. Because if you look at his argument, make mention of Emmanuel Macron, his track record as a minister of budget in France. And I think we are talking about track record because Macron has given an opportunity. Today, do we have any young man as a minister in this present government? Do we have anyone? How can you say we should check someone's track record when you don't have an opportunity? It's as if somebody is asking you that we want somebody here and he must have 5 years of experience. How can you say that when he has not even been given an opportunity? I talk of security, he said, well, I completely disagree with him. I'm from a swinging state, the Middle Belt, and today the region has been turned into a killing field. Just yesterday, in total, over 31 people, innocent Nigerians, were killed. Up to date, we can't come up, the government cannot come up, these are people behind it, and this one led to such killing. You are aware of what is happening in Benue State, Kogi State, Zamfara, Brinigwari, in what is his name, in Kaduna here. Almost over 47 people were kidnapped on a highway in Kaduna here. So saying he give him beyond pass mark, well, maybe depends on the angle he is seeing it from. Even the so-called war against corruption, to me, it's a mere paper war. Up to date, 3 years, nobody has been convicted.
But the EFCC came out a few days ago to tell us that they've secured over 486 or 83 convictions, in 2 years.
Who are those people? Where are they serving jail?
Including the senior advocate.
Where are they? They were sentenced to where? Mention their name. We are tired of propaganda. My good friend here made mentions of foreign reserve. Oh, what do we do with it? When people are suffering? Foreign reserve? I think a hungry man has no place to save. You have to eat first before you talk of tomorrow. Can you save money for ahead of tomorrow when you have not eaten anything since morning? You have a government that eventually increased everything and is battling with just to increase the civil servant salary or minimum wage. How is it called it? There is enough hunger and suffering which my friend Ayo here can testify to it. We have to be sincere. We are talking youth to youth. Let's forget about political party. If it's as sound as Ayo is, I see nothing bad in him being a minister of state for finance or whatever. Do we have anybody of his age inside this government? So that is we have a systematic discrimination against Nigerian youth. And I must be sincere to you. Though I am not saying that we don't have a problem on our own side. But structurally, the environment is not fertile. And that is the big factor militating against youth, despite the effort of the National Assembly in not too young to rule. And I agree with him when he says everybody want to emerge leadership at the same time. It's a big factor, a big problem against militating youth leadership. Hatred, jealousy, where all of us, nobody want to be under the tutelage or be mentored by any one of us. It's a big problem against us. But systematically, we are being discriminated against. Therefore, for us to say that 2019, a youth, a young man of our age can emerge as a president, I still doubt. Finance involved, even the political party policy. You made mention of affirmation, youth affirmation. I have not seen any one of them. And policy discriminating against Nigeria, you do not just start from President Muhammad Buhari. It's because ever since IBB came into power, and when he openly make a pronouncement that the youth are not ready, which I would not condemn him for that. Since then till now, we have been sidelined in the scheme of things. And not just condemning it, I'm looking forward to see the youth, the young, vibrant youth like Ayo of APC, to come up with a program or an affirmation demanding a certain percentage that the youth within social age should be appointed or given some. And if you are contesting for governor within this year, a PDP or APC, XDP can come up with that. If you are below 35, you are contesting for governor, the social amount of money, this is how much you youth, the form should be sold or should be sold, made available to any man beyond this. In doing so, the youth are being encouraged. Even on the financial muscle, I don't see any young man today in line with what is happening in this country that can beat up his chest and say he's going to contest for the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Ayo, do you think the APC can come up with what Austin just mentioned?
Indeed, they can come up with it. And indeed, also, they've already started coming up with it. I'll give you an example. I'll put facts into perspective. The BOT of APC has about 4 young people on the board. Start with that one. 2, there's a convention committee that just came up with now. There's like about 8 young people who are members of that committee also too. So you can see that APC as a party has understood that the youths are like the life wire. They are critical stakeholders and they are empowering them. And you see, there's a forum called the All Progressive Youth Forum. It's another arm within the party that propagates and fights and champions for the cause of young people. And that platform has been able to establish that they should have young people in various sectors of the country, from various arms of government, from the executive to the legislative. I can mention people. The president has a lot of young people in his office. The VP has magnificent young guys too. We have a young guy, his name is Tola. Tola is the deputy chief negotiator of Nigeria. And now now if I have to put this in perspective now, it means any deal this country has to do with any country across the globe, this young chap is there. We have Ife. Ife was his essay on the innovation. So the people that walked through when Mark Zuckerberg came to the country and they had. So we have young people, but we need more space. We have people as executive directors in MDGs like NERC. You have the Dr. Sanusi or Harry, who's there, is an ED there. Other areas of government, you don't have to be a minister to be young. You don't have to be young to be a minister. But there are agencies of government that shape the policy of the country. You have young Nigerians that are doing really very fine there. Now to take it further now, like I agree now. Okay, on security, I want to come back to security because security, without security, we can't even be here to start with. We knew what it was pre-2015. I don't like to cast. It's good to cast. I don't like casting aspersions on any government, but I also want to tell you that before, depends on the faith you are. You're a Christian, you're a Muslim. It was a tug of war to go and pray on Sundays and on Fridays. We had Boko Haram come that they had about 12 local governments to themselves. Now we're fighting asymmetric warfare, which means you have a criminal who comes and you don't know where he's coming from. He hits and then he runs away. And this happens across. We're using France. Just some days ago in France, someone stabbed someone. In America, you have people shooting people. So this happens. Not that it's perfect for us, but you can see that there's a proper action towards getting this done. Gone are the days whereby you allocate money to defend and food. Spend the money. The difference is clear. You can see the efforts. The efforts have been buying platforms. The last time we got to good platforms with efforts was 1998. We came here, we bought about 12, we ordered for 12 Tucanos. We got Mi-2, Mi-35 from Russia. 10 more are coming. More platforms are coming, so more commands are being established. So, and then the war is being fought. Talking about responses, well, yeah, it's very unfortunate that innocent Nigerians have been killed. It's really very unfortunate, but this is predates administration. The Herdsmen farmers crisis has been on for a while. And now we can also know that the climate change is a factor for this. This is a long-term part of it. It's not just right now. It's huge. The shrinking, look at Lake Chad Basin, for example. Now, Spar was costing Boko Haram because people who normally go there to fish can't fish again. The size of the basin has shrunk from to about 90%. So people right now, and I said idle hands is a workshop, so they have nothing to do. So that's why government has to bring multilateral programs. You still have SIP, investment program, which is broken down into 4 clusters. This is how you can bring in people. You have Empower, you have agricultural extensionists, engage young people. You also have other agencies of government trying to fund our money as startup for them to go into investment. So all these things are trying to see how you can engage people, but we also have to engage ourselves. We have to be very real to ourselves. We cannot fold our hands and say one things to get done to ourselves like that. No, it doesn't work. You have to work to earn it. The president was president today. He ran 3 times. 3 good times. So he tried to run the first time, he lost. Second time, he lost. Third time, he lost. And then the fourth time, he got it. So it's not a fait accompli. There has to be a deliberate effort from us. Put party aside. We're first Nigerians before I'm APC or PDP or anything. And if there's no peace and security, we can't be discussing politics. We need to restore peace and order first of all, before we can begin to have a breathing and a very good space to extend our ideas on how we can move the country forward.
Now, let me put this to you. If President Buhari should come out in 2015, like he has made his intention known to run, and you have a youth who has also declared his intention, and he is also the presidential candidate of maybe an opposition party, maybe Afghan or that. Now, would you rather vote for President Buhari or you would vote for the youth?
I need to see what the youth is bringing to the table. I won't just vote for him because he's a youth. I want to know what is his blueprint for the economy, for the foreign policy, for the security, for engagement, judiciary, reforms. I want to see what is his blueprint. I'm going to read through everything line by line, word for word. Then if I'm convinced that this is where it is, of course I'll switch camp. If I don't feel, I'll put my foot where I think is better for me.
Okay, Austin, back to you. Do you buy into what Ayo just said? You know, he has reeled out a couple of achievements that this administration has done, especially in the area of acquiring armament for the military. Like you rightly said, without peace, we won't be sitting down here to talk all of this. So, do you buy into, you know, his submission?
I don't see any change. I don't get it now. As long as the killing is killing, it's made mention of people can't go to church or they can't go to mosque, or it's still not happening. Was mosque not attacked as the last 2 weeks in Anambra?
But do you expect all of this to stop outrightly? Is it possible for it to be stopped outrightly?
No. I don't think it's not possible, but they shouldn't come up with telling us that they have addressed the issue of incessant killing when there's ongoing killing in the North Central every day. I don't know you get it now. And for us to get this right, we must go outside our party affiliation, or else we are just playing politics. And we can't play politics with the real situation on ground. Nigerians are tired of all this. We are looking for a solution. Of course, you know, you and I know. He made mentions of people being appointed to office of the vice president. How visible is even the vice president engaged? This is a government you and he knows. You and I know. What is the constitutional responsibility of a vice president? You made mention of APC Youth Forum, founded by Ismail Ahmed. Can so as sound as Ismail Ahmed is, can someone like him be engaged as a minister or even a junior minister? We are talking of where policy are being formulated, not just mere appointing to an agency or this and that. Is it forbidden for a young man to sit down inside the Federal Executive Council? Do you see any young man following the president anywhere as he's traveling from London to America or anywhere he's going to? So we have to be sincere with ourselves. Though there's a serious problem among the youth constituency. Over 80% or 79% of the youth today is from the young generation. The constituency called the young one. But today, discrimination, party affiliation, religion, which each and every one of us confess, are big factors militating against us. You understand? And I talk about the system where young men are being mentored for a leadership challenge tomorrow. Today, do we have anything of such? He made mention of SIP, NPower. When last were they paid? I'm giving it a close monitoring. Nigerian has tested PDP, they have tested APC. Nigerian has gone beyond a political party. Just as he said, you want to see what a young man can come up with. In a system where manifesto, ideology work. But today, money counts. Who has the war chest, financial war chest that count? That is what is happening. And I think we should engage in a constructive orientation among us, the youth. On the way forward, he talks about experience. President Muhammad Buhari was a former military administrator of the entire Northeast, the former Minister of Petroleum, down to the PTDL. He has contested for the president for 3 times. But today, is there anything to show that this man has experience from what is happening? We have a president where they say that his body language, he speaks through body languages, and you can see the situation, what is happening. A day before yesterday, Manuel Washa orderly were withdrew because he criticized the General Police. You heard what the alarm raised by the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You are aware of what is happening to Senator Gino Melaye from my own state, where he's been accused of arming a terrorist in Igala land, all the way from the Kogi West. We are not making progress. The world is moving fast ahead of us.
But with all of this that you made mention of, do you think the president should be held responsible? That's it.
I have not said that. Hold on. He appointed his best hand. Remember, it took him almost 7 months.
As immaterial, though.
That's
immaterial, though.
That is your own way according to you. That is how it depends on how you see it. I'm not here to play politics. I'm not here to defend or condemn. We are here to seek for the way forward. And we must be sincere to imbibe the spirit of patriotism. This country belongs to us.
Indeed.
We should shun any element of hypocrisy. They say they buy this, they buy the, what effect has that got to? Are Boko Haram still not kidnapping people, even under this government? There were several allegations that huge amount of money were paid to terrorists to release them. They even came to that village where they were addressing people after they released those girls. They warned them not to take them back to school. Nobody is being traced down. Who is doing this? Why is he doing this? Who are those behind it? A reverend father who came from America just to visit this place in Benue State was killed. Up to date, nobody has been arrested to that effect. We have a president who says he orders the General Police to go to the Benue. He stopped the Benue in Nasarawa State, and nothing happened. So I am not saying that the president is wrong because you can't give what you don't have.
So what are you saying? Are you saying the president doesn't have what it takes to be president?
No, it depends on his. No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is depends of his own understanding. And that's why we are saying globally, the world is moving to the younger generation. We have just seen James of Canada, is a young one. We have the Michael of Belgium, a very young man. Ali Saleh, as Samad of Yemen. Emmanuel Macron of France. So we are moving to a where things change. The experience the president must have acquired then may no longer be effective as it is now because of the global changes and the church world. And I was looking at maybe you bring in some younger generation to study or that study and be part of policy formulation before you implement it or whatever. But what we are saying is that some of them are being given a non-functioning offices as one SSA or SA to devise this and this or whatever. How will you even say you are going to compete with them when they relegate you to where you can't even come up to compete? How? And even the behavior of those that have opportunity, like a clear example of what is happening in my state, a very bad emblems, a bad symbol of Nigerian youth, Kogi State, that is my state. The government is 99% youth. But the history of Kogi State, even military administrations are better than what we have in Kogi State.
Do you have a contrary view?
I do. I have a lot of contrary view to what I say. Okay. You see, as young Nigerians, like you said, we should be detribalized. We should keep ethnic or whatever things aside. Let's be very pragmatic and objective. And this is where I am. Forget my party affiliation. And I'll tell you that, one, you see, Ismail that you talked about, which I guess is good you know him. Ismail is the SSA to the president on SIP. SIP is one of the flagship projects of this government that has an annual budget of 500 billion naira. Now, that is more than what some state government actually gets. Now, you have a young boy or a young lad who works as a head in that unit. That tells you, and these are things that, let's get the facts right. let's not muddle things together. Let's be very objective. That's why we should stand aside from other people who are actually out there. And the 500 billion naira thing, you shouldn't wish that thing away. That thing is impacting on people really very well. People who have finished school with no job, you get a job there, they give you a stipend of maybe 30,000 naira every month, some gadgets, and with that, people will now begin to probably save, get a loan, and then from where I was checking out the entire thing, some people were there, they've left to go and open something bigger. It's not the best, but you're seeing, this is the first time you're seeing accurate and real-time government intervention for Nigerians.
But sincerely, can you give us statistics? Because as we speak, the last time I heard this was when the campaign was going on. I'm yet to see someone to come out to tell Nigerians
still going on.
I've gotten this, I've gotten that. I have a sister, sister-in-law who happens to enroll in NPower in Ilorin, Kwara State. As we speak, in fact, I spoke with her a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
As we speak, she has not gotten, she has not been paid for quite some time.
For how long?
And her elder sister, who happened to be one of them in the Lagos Axis, her name was totally erased from the whole system. As we speak, for over 6 months, she has not gotten anything. So, if this is anything to go by, how credible is this program that you're talking about?
Well, like you said, you can have some few glitches and hitches there, up and there. That doesn't mean that the whole thing is a watershed.
Yeah.
Of course, and I guess that as there are crises like that, they're working so much hard so they can fix it. On one note. Now, on the other notes, now you see that's why I said we should be objective. Now, you talked about a senator from Jos whose police orderly was withdrawn, and he said because he criticized police. Sorry?
Taraba State.
Taraba Bauchi, yeah. Now, you see, we need to know the laws of the country. I'm not here to code brief for the police, but for my own readings, I know that those who are privileged to have police escorts are the principal officers in the National Assembly by the law.
But we've also seen situations whereby you can approach the police and demand for an escort. Maybe you
can also. So, he can. I can.
So maybe.
So I don't.
Watcher had. Maybe.
He's a deputy minority leader, for God's sake.
That's what I'm coming.
High-rank senator.
Let's go further. Now you were talking about Senate President and the IGP of police, and what's there? The whole thing is there's a fact that they said they arrested some people in Kwara.
Before that,
they brought them
several invitations concerning the ongoing cleaning.
Well, because
in the North Central.
That's the IGP.
Yes,
but the IGP came out to say that the whole invitation has just been about Senator Dino Melaye.
Why is this Senator Dino Melaye?
You went to a level that was
what is wrong?
If it were to be,
what is wrong?
Because of Senator Dino Melaye.
Yes.
Senator Dino Melaye, before he becomes a senator or before he is a senator, he is first of all a citizen of this country.
Indeed, he is.
And he has the right to life, right to freedom of association, and all of the rights. Now, if in America we've seen situations whereby one American will be missing and the whole United States is out there looking for him.
Yeah.
Now, if, like you rightly claimed that he was, summoned because of Senator Dino Melaye, do you think that single life is not what the IGP, to be summoned?
It is.
So
in all affirmation, it is. But you see, all I'm trying to say here is that let's follow the records.
Okay.
He was invited on 2 occasions. He didn't come up. But what did he do? He sent his DIG operations. The first time I remember he was in Bauchi with the president on an official visit. He couldn't come there. The second one, he was in Braining-Gwari with the GOC First Mechanized Division to go and see what was going on there. He couldn't leave that to come there. He also sent the DIG to go there. So the DIG would take a note, whatever if he was actually really so. Come on, brief the IGP. Why must it be? It's not really about the person. It's the office or the job, and then there's someone that's there to deputize for him, who's the director of operation. He said, "I'm out here." He went there and they pushed him out. So that's what I'm trying to say. We're bringing politics into it.
Ayo, he started it first of all.
Who started what?
Politics. We're even mentioning Tinubu, his mentor.
No, I said
government. So what we are saying is that
that's
he has gone purely political.
That's mentorship right now.
Ayo,
what are you talking about?
The president and commander-in-chief, while there was an ongoing genocide in Benue State, order Inspector General Police to visit Benue and he refused. The president confessed it.
That's not true.
You heard him.
That's not true.
You heard him.
That's not true.
Okay, you mean the president was lying?
No. You have a contrary view to that?
See, I keep saying that let's try and have this. Not really. You know, when the president ordered the IGP to go to Benue, the IGP went to Benue. We have it on record. He met the governor, Otto. Afterwards,
But the president
said,
said
"I'm coming."
he refused to come to me.
There's a background. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He met the governor, Otto. Afterwards, went to see Tortiv. I met the traditional council, and then most of them said, "See, this bandits coming from Tonga and Nasarawa, they come and hit locations here, and they run back." So after the IGP went all through the flashpoints, he now asks DIG Ops to stay there, and he moved next to Nasarawa State, met the governor, and went to meet the people there. I went to Tonga. I met the emir there, and asked them that as the traditional ruler here, you are the custodian of your people here. And so we'll have you. So please talk to your people. What? Or if you think you have anyone that's doing any fishy thing, bring it back. And then from there he left back. So when the president came on his tour, when he was going here, and then they told him that you ordered the IGP to come here, but he left. And the president said, I didn't know that he left. When he came back, what he do? He ordered the IGP, queried the IGP. The man came there and briefed him and said, this is what happened. What happened? If he was as guilty as I think he should be, or Nigerians saying he should be, he will be fired. But the records are there, track records, media don't lie, the facts are there, facts are sacred.
But do you also remember when President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in 2015? I know a couple of months after he ordered that the information center of the Nigerian military should be moved to the northeast. You remember that scenario?
On the day of swearing in,
on
has
the
been
day
said.
of swearing,
Yeah,
good. So, and that was done as quickly as possible. And the chief of army staff, you know, has been very frequent in the northeast. Now, will you compare that body language with that of the IGP?
Well, it varies. Okay. It varies. The northeast operation is a different operation. And when you said that, and I remember all the service chiefs, they all moved there. And after a while, they came back, and then they had they were monitoring what's going on there.
But first, they moved there.
They moved there.
And they didn't just step in there, drop their GOCs, and come back to Abuja.
Yeah, but there is a theater commander.
Sure.
Yeah, so when they went there, they met the troops as morale boosters, whatnot. They did everything they had to do, got briefing, and they left, and they were in constant touch. I don't see any much difference what happened to IGP to here. So now, do you want the IGP? Now you're complaining that people hit you and run to Tonga.
We are talking of a system here.
Yes, we are talking of a system.
And Nigeria, you can't govern a country like this, like a banana republic, where the president alone must be loyal to. Rather, system has to be loyal to. You're talking of, you say that operation in the northeast is different. The same life being lost in northeast, the same life is we are talking of being wasted in Benue State here. The same system that empowered the president, that as a commander-in-chief, he fly Air Force One, Nigeria Air Force One, is the same system that say when the president moves, the closed door, everything, the closed door for him. The same system is being backrized. Not because he's the most lucky man. The system defined him that he's the president and #1 citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The same law that protects him, we have to adhere to it strictly. Killing is killing. Calling it armed bandit is a mere political language coined up to make it look somehow. We have the herdsmen attacking the farmer. The situation that is not as worse as that, as lack of that Biafra agitators, that was named, what's the name, terrorist. On several occasions, twice that the president has condemned it, he was forced to, out of public cry, overwhelming condemnation. He initially called the people of Benue State that they should welcome their countrymen. So what we are saying is that so far, so bad. Nigeria is not moving in the direction is expected of.
Do you think the youth can do any different?
Of course. And that is why I'm saying the message, we should engage in a constructive orientation. I don't know if you get it now. Generational change, shift in leadership recruitment. And that can happen through affirmation policy, which a party can advocate for, either APC or PDP or whatever. And your last program, I said, nothing wrong in making an elderly man the minister and the junior one should be the younger one. Most of these SSA don't even have office.
They do. They do.
I don't know you get it now. Okay, talk of the issue of 500 billion for it. What is the budget performance of 2017 budget Nigeria? Do we have up to 30% budget performance?
When was budget passed?
Forget about the issue of forget about the issue of bogus figure. So what we are saying, either APC or PDP, none of them is doing well in terms of youthful engagement or youth engagement, and we must tell ourselves the truth. I haven't seen any policy formulated by both the PDP or APC that is all about encouraging youth mentorship. Even talkers of appointment, they'll come up with one intervention, they'll engage a son of a nobody. When they are talking of a Jewish appointment, employment into a like of NNPC, CBN, or whatever, is their children that are engaged. In summary, Ayo, you and I know, forget about APC, forget about PDP.
Sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying? The same people, they are just changing color. I know much of political party. I was among people that formed the APC. When you meet by Sesma, ask him about them. The same thing I play a very role, still playing a crucial role in the PDP. But I'm telling you the real fact that we must encourage street orientation. If Ayo has the capacity to deliver, let us encourage him. So we youth are the problem of ourselves, where everybody wants to become a leader.
Indeed, we all agree on that.
We should select our best hand and let the encourage such person to go. Barrister Ismail Ahmed is one of the young chap in APC. Or today, if Barrister Ismail is contest for anything, I will campaign for him in respect of any of his position. I've commended Lado Suleja, APC House of Rep member from Suleja. He's doing marvelously well. I don't know you get it now. Senator Amala is an APC man. He's my close friend because he's speaking. I'm not saying he's a perfect being. But it's a voice. And you can't tell me that it's nobody today. Okay, I can only talk of the House of Rep member from Lagos, my own friend, who sponsors and push for this not too young for rule.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we are talking about. Youth with vision, focus, and ambition. And you can't tell me that his involvement in the House of Rep is a waste. Not too young to rule is a
Austin, let me put it to you. Excuse me. Will you vote for President Muhammadu Buhari come 2019 against a youthful presidential candidate?
Yeah, I agree with.
Presidential candidate in the sense that you've seen his manifesto, and maybe President Buhari's manifesto is far much better than that of the youth. Will you vote for President Buhari?
I will not vote for him. Because so far, so bad, I insist. He has not done anything different. I know I took my time to read the panel headed by Shehu Shani over the what happened, what Babashe Lawal and others did to how the IDPs was turned to a money-making machine. I don't know you get it now. And even if, no matter what the deficiency, even my major grudges against him is his intentional refusal to sign a Peace Corps bill into law.
Do you think that bill was necessary?
That is a pro-youth bill.
Do you think that bill was necessary?
I feel that bill is a duplication of agencies that we already have in ground.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember I wrote a piece about that, and then I got a lot of emails from young people who kept saying, "Why don't you want us to be engaged? Why don't you want us?" But the Peace Corps bill is going to do a job of the police, the DSS, the military, the intelligence. So why don't we rather see that we can have these ones much more established and entrenched than creating another agency just in the token of trying to just create more people and get more jobs. And that's why I actually didn't think I really went for that bill.
But do you think with the security situation in the country, had it been that bill was signed into law, do you think it will not help in enhancing security around the country?
Well, it will help. But you can see that. But I think, but like I said, now afterwards, we think the president gave approval for them to employ 6,000 people in the police force. That's meaning it's not enough. But you see, I want us to forget what we're coming from, what we're going to. It's not perfect, But in the past, if in the past people were building on all we're having right now, we'll have gone beyond what we are. At the point in time, our foreign reserve was over $67 billion. It went down. So imagine you had $67 billion. That's when Yar'Adua died. From 67, it went to about 100 and something. And then we kept building. Governments continue. Why is president now? A lot of things is commissioned are things that have been done by either Jonathan or Obasanjo, like the EFCC office now. Predated his government. It was done during Rwada's time. But it's been completed right now. That's what government's all about. It's not about, I don't take credit. No, let's have that deliberate effort from everybody to see that you want to make the country better than you met it. Attempt to make something. So when you come tomorrow, you do that too. When you raise the bar, you can't bring it down. Just like Lagos State, and I'll give you an example of why I think I like Tinubu. Why I won't hide about it. I think he's someone who is a tact and a strategist, and he has showed that by people around him. He has made a lot of people. They're all over. Fowler, the vice president, Lai Mohammed, Tinubu, Fashola. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them that they're not even appointed yet. There are something that's running very well in Lagos State government. Someone that I really want. Someone I like. Not just about you just having everything. Empower people. Those people you empower other people to, and the message will go around.
That's true.
But aside that, who else do I look up to? You rightly said it. The governor of Kogi State. He's a young guy that all of us felt that guy should be the badge of our honor and say, we have a young guy doing very fine. He's not impressive to us. He goes to Niger State too. I don't know what was up for him. But look at the speaker. The speaker is trying. The guys, you hear him speak very eloquent. He's in the house. Stability is there. Now, these are people you can look up to and say, okay, fine. When you see him, when he speaks, you'll be like, oh, this guy is beyond where I thought he is from looking at him, actually. So we want more of that actually across party lines to inspire us to aspire to people we want to be. So I think on the end of it, we all share common ground. Sure. All our arguments here is how we can move the country forward. Definitely. Then we can now change if I'm APC and you're PDP. We'll now see how we can come to that afterwards.
All right, as I said, I want to say thank you to my guests in the house today. Austin, thank you for coming. Ayo, thank you so very much. It's been a robust, discussion. No arguments. We have at the end of the day, agreed that we need to move our country forward. And if you ask me, I think the time to move the country forward is now. I don't know if you will be available next week so that we can take it up from here. I like it when it's with an element of continuity so that we won't just have to break it and just end it up there. So next week I hope that you guys will be around so that we'll take it up from where we stop. We'll look into the economy, we'll look into the security angle of it. Let's go into our educational sector, strike. We can just it's politics, health. The budget has just been passed. We can also x-ray it and see what we can derive from it as young Nigerians. By next week, if you're chanced, we're always here for you again. All right.
Thank you.
All right, this is how much time we permit us on the show tonight. We hope we've been able to engage you and let you know that Nigeria will definitely be great again, no matter what we are facing. It's just a teething process, and for every teething process, there's always an end to it. We hope to come and hit your screen again next week, God willing. Stay out of trouble. And next on PTV is the news. Please stay with us. My name is Pius San.
Oh my God.
Election is when we elect our leaders who represent us. And election is my right as a citizen of this country.
Election is a voting process. Election is a voting process, like vote a candidate for a leadership.
It's not like my right to choose the country's leader. My own part to play about it.
Say from layman point of view, is any activity that is aimed at putting people in a position of authority.
It's a platform, an avenue for people to elect those or get into offices, those that they want to represent them.
An election is simple now. It's just people choosing one or two people. The society choosing a number of people to represent, to lead, to coordinate, to do administration. All right.
And now you want my trust once more.
Before you can say, what an election is, there has to be an electorate. Somebody has to, vote, you understand, in an election for people of authority to get into power.
The vote is the power of the electorate. All right, so the people brings their power to the table during an election. That's what it is.
I think it's more like us having a say of who goes there to represent us, of who we talk to, that will guide us aright, and give us the benefit of that. Oh, let me not use the word a past one. Or give us the benefit that what we need is what we're going to get.
Between the electorate and the election itself, the electorate are supposed to willingly vote according to their conscience, according to what they feel that the capabilities of whoever they want to elect into offices can do.
The electorate, they have the power to elect their leaders because this is a democratic setting, and you know what the meaning of democracy is? Democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So it is our right as the electorate to elect our leaders.
Only God can judge you now. Only God can judge you now.
Come on, you can't buy my right. It is my right as a citizen, and you can't buy it with money. No amount of money can buy it. So because by the time you sell your right to vote, you're selling your birthright. That's the way I see it.
I think that is laughable. I don't think you need to pay to get my vote, but rather you need to earn my vote. My vote is free. I mean, I don't have to collect anything from you to vote for you. If you tell me what you are going to do, and I am okay, and I believe that voting you, will mean realizing such aims and objectives, then I'll cast my vote for you. I don't need to take money to vote for you.
That's a lot of money. My power is all I have got. All right. So if it's like I'm selling myself to you. If you pay me and I give you my power, my vote is my power. So it means you are ready to pay a whole lot of money. It's like I'm selling myself to you as a slave. You have total control over me. So that would be difficult to sell, actually. That will be very, very. In fact, it's difficult to explain. Well, but it's also simple to explain. If I give you my power, I have sold myself to you. So why should I do that? It's my vote during an election is my power, is everything I am.
A matter of money, because it's about my generation now. Trying to cause a change. There is no money whatsoever that one has to pay to get the right leader. The money can finish, but when the money finishes, what happens? What's next? That's what we're looking at.
You can only offer me your conscience and nothing else. The conscience that I have to believe that when you get in there, you represent me well. I don't believe in selling of votes, and I can't do that. So my vote only can appeal to your conscience, and that is exactly what it is. If I find out that you cannot represent me well based on your antecedents, I can't at all vote you in, no matter how much you're giving to me.
I don't need anybody's money to vote. If I want to vote, I'll vote for someone I choose to vote for. Not because of the money.
See, all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
That is the bane of the problem, the bane of the issue here. Collecting money and then selling your votes. You're selling a whole generation of yours. Very wrong. So people should vote according to their conscience. No matter how much they are giving you, let them go with their money. Vote according to your conscience. And when the person comes in, he will know definitely that he did not spend any money. He has come to do work for you. And he will definitely do the work. But when he buys your vote, what do you expect him to do? Definitely nothing. If I come to you and I buy votes from you, you don't expect me to do anything for you. So if they should have any expectation on the incoming administration, they should, from this very moment, begin to reorientate themselves, begin to understand that once they say their votes, they don't have any moral justification again to ask for the amenities that these people are supposed to come in to provide for them.
They should know that, when you sell your vote, you shouldn't hold your leaders accountable for anything. Because at the end of the day, when they buy you, you are electing the wrong leaders. And it will in turn rub off on what will benefit our citizens of this country. Because what we're suffering from in this country is as a result of politicians buying our right to vote them in. That is what we're suffering from. So it should be discouraged. It should be discouraged.
If you look at the lifestyle of people who sells their vote, they are in complete penury, living in squalor. They have no hope. Leadership that continues to gives out money to buy people's vote in an election will continue to exploit the people. They would continue to refuse to do what they should do. They would continue to keep back developmental projects that is supposed to empower the people and continue to use them as piecemeals during election.
The common understanding is that once you sell your vote, it's like you said your future and you said the future of the unborn. Because one, if you sell your vote, the person who bought your vote from you bought it, with a price and his personal money. And he will have to do business to recoup his money. And by the time he's recouping his money, you will be the one to suffer.
Okay, you look at the children, you look at yourself. Are you really in the right place? Is the country in the right position? Can we compete with other countries out there? When you collect the money now and it finishes, what's happened next? So I think with that right frame of mind, people tend to think twice before they collect money, because at the end of the day, the money finishes, but the person is still there for the 4 years.
So you shouldn't allow politicians buy you over. That is what we are suffering from as citizens, because we elect the wrong people. So at the end of the day, they're not accountable to us. By the time they buy you, definitely they will recoup their money. So as a result, you will not enjoy any form of amenities. What they are supposed to do for us, of course they cannot do it for us, because they are like investors. You invest money, you want to recoup it. So you can't hold them responsible for anything.
Why you keep on deceiving the people, my brother, my sister?
When you get politicians that want to come into power by crook or by any means.
One thing is them having doubts, them not having the consciousness of producing results. When you won't produce results, you tend to pay for something. When they pay them off, they feel they can do anything there because you are being bought over, so you don't have authority anymore.
Of course, they are businessmen. That is what they are. Businessmen coming to sell, coming to buy. So when they come to you, tell them that you are not selling. They will definitely come. They don't have any other thing. They don't have nothing whatsoever to offer the country except that money that they have, with which they will come to buy your vote. And when they enter there, they don't do anything for you.
Why don't we work together so the future will be brighter?
Money politics is the worst type of politics you can experience or have anywhere in the world. So our challenge is actually coming to the place of realization, of understanding what you are, what you carry, and who you are. If we can get to that place easily, then all of this would not even come up.
People should begin to, realize that once these people are voted in on the basis of having bought your vote, I'm telling you, they will not do anything for you.
As a nation, we should know that those who are buying votes, in the first instance, do not mean well for the country. And if it is possible, the whole country should revolt against them. Once you see anybody, soliciting to buy your vote, that should be enough reason to reject that person or that political party, as the case may be.
If you vote for money, at the end of the day, the person will be doing anyhow in the power, and you have the right to say anything.
The value of my vote is enormous. It's about the change I want in my country. It's about a whole lot of things, the generation at large. We're talking about what we want to see, the change we want to see in our country. Look at the Western country out there. We are not just closed. The education is down, everything is not working, so we need something to work in this country.
My voter's card has power because it is my right. It is my right, and nobody can buy it.
I dedicate this one to all of the shady politicians. Wake up, promise and fail, and they make the people live in harsh conditions. Yeah.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
On topical issues, as always, Nigeria right now. Come along.
Gaskiya wuta noma.
As it relates to the relationship. So that's it. This is Nigeria right now. Action. Yes, this is Nigeria right now with Vixen Irebu, and of course we're at Honorable Tony Nwolo's place. Tony Nwolo is the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill. Honorable, thank you for having us. Thank you. You are very important to us right now. This is Honorable Tony Nwolo. Tony Nwolo is the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill. Honorable,
thank you.
How did you manage to think out, or even to convince yourself about sponsoring the Not Too Young to Run bill? Because the president in his democracy address talked about to sign that bill. That became an issue, and that's why we're here in your place.
Yeah, it was born out of the genuine passion to have the young people occupy our political space. There's been a great injustice done to the young people of this country. I feel we get to play in most other spheres, but you hardly see any of us, just few of us in the political space. So, and you know, if you think about the fact that most of the old people we have today all started when they were very young, and they've remained there.
Yeah,
I think that heightens the injustice.
But when they started, right, there was no law that enabled their emergence in the political space. So how did we need a law to get the young people in the political space?
The question you should ask is, why was there a law in the first place that should limit people from participating or being? If we agree in the Constitution, the drafters of the Constitution deemed it right that at 18 you're eligible to vote. Why didn't they also allow 18 to be voted for?
So, but in this bill, is 18 eligible to be voted for?
No, in this bill, 18 is not eligible, but we've reduced that, and we hope, it's my desire that somehow the next assembly will continue to improve upon this until we get it to that which is obtainable in most other climes. We're not saying that we're hoping to see an 18-year-old occupy the position,
but to leave the space for anybody to
why would you want
to aspire?
Good. Why would, what in their own thinking made them limit or set the limit they did?
But that will also be queried in the future when they come with, let's allow 18, since 18 is eligible to vote. Someone will also ask, what were they thinking? You know, even limiting 18.
How old was Gowon and Co?
Gowon was 29.
Even in the military when they started. So why is it that in the civilian, the democratic setting, you now have the age being applied? How old was Obasanjo? How old was T.Y. Danjuma?
How old was Ojukwu when he took us to war?
That is exactly my point. So why is it that when it got to democracy, the drafters
limiting the
why do we have that? If not just an outright injustice to the young people of this country.
But I was also wondering that the president would have just announced on Democracy Day that congratulations, Nigerians, especially the young people, that the bill, you know, the Not Too Young to Run bill, have assented to it. But this one is still another promise. And you're a member of the APC.
No, I'm a member of the PDP.
Oh, you're a member of the PDP?
Yes.
I asked because I thought it would have been a good gift for Democracy Day.
It's not bad. It's not late yet. If Mr. President has announced that in the next couple of days he's going to sign the bill, it's good enough. If days run into weeks,
and weeks run into months,
then you begin to ask, why didn't you keep to your promise? But if Mr. President has simply said, in a matter of days, this could be tomorrow, this could be next tomorrow.
True.
This could be Saturday. We still have this week.
And this could be after May 2019.
No, I don't see that. I don't think that's what Mr. President meant when he said so. I would want us to, first and foremost, I want to commend Mr. President for that bold step. At the same time that I've commended the respective state assemblies that assented to the bill and the National Assembly itself for the support. This bill wouldn't have seen the light of the day without the National Assembly supporting it. The leadership of the both chambers stood by this bill. It made this bill break a record. It became the first bill that was hastily, it was the fastest to go through the second reading in the history of the National Assembly.
But I'm also wondering, you're young, and how did you get to the political space? Because lots of young people do not care about politics. So with this bill right now, how will that...
Would I really agree with you that most young people don't care? I think they do. The problem is sometimes mentoring. Some young people they also need some form of direction, which is not a wrong thing. If from different formations, the churches, the mosques, our social gatherings, we begin to let people understand the need for them to participate actively in politics, because that lies the decision that would affect their future. You know, I think we have a vibrant young generation that are upwardly mobile, and all you need is just that thing, and they will key into it, and that's what we've seen with the Not Too Young to Run. Many young people have keyed in from different, funny enough, young Nigerians in different states persuaded their assemblies to ensure that this is passed. Most of them held rallies in many states.
Will you say the Not Too Young to Run bill, inspired the avalanche of young aspirants for presidential position?
Yes, it did. And the funny thing about it is that even the older politicians are not telling you that they are also not too young to run, or they are telling you that they are not too young to run compliant. No,
not too young to run compliant.
Because I've seen in some posters that are coming out of. We're not trying to remove them from power. But what we're trying to do is also to let them understand that yes,
there should be room,
there should be space. Let that space be there for the younger generation. And let's begin to have that generational bridge where you can transfer some knowledge, wisdom of what you've acquired over the years to the younger people, so that we don't have a lacuna at the end of the day.
Going by our own climate, going by the Nigerian environment, will you say it will be right for a young person to be president of Nigeria in 2019?
Why wouldn't it be right?
I ask because
if you
what experience are these young people? What
experience did Obasanjo bring to power when he
was a military man?
Yes, and then what makes military different from civilian?
They came through the barriers of the gun.
They came through the barriers of the gun. We're talking about leadership now, not how you came.
Yes.
Okay. So we're not talking about how you came.
Okay.
If you come through voting,
yes,
and as a young person, you have responsibility. It's saddled upon you. Before I got to National Assembly, I didn't go for any formal training on how to be a lawmaker.
I'm also wondering how you made it from Lagos. You're not from Lagos State. You made it from. You are representing the Solo
Federal Constituency.
Yes.
And
you're from Imo State.
Yes. Constitutionally, you are allowed to.
I know constitutionally, but I'm just wondering how you were able to find your way around all that had to do with the discrimination and all
the vibrancy of the young people. A young man can do a whole lot of things. You go out there, venture, and then put the rest in God. Do your own part. That's the most important thing I always tell people. God would always lead and direct those that call upon Him. You know why you want to get into a leadership position, because if you see it as power, then that is what you're seeing it as. For me, I choose to see any office as a call to leadership.
Okay. Well, we'll come back. This is Nigeria Right Now with Dickson Iregbu. And of course, we have a young Nigerian, the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill, Honorable Tony Nwolu. It's been engaging, and I'm sure that lots of young people out there are listening right now and probably dusting up whatever they should to join politics. If he could do it, why not? We'll be right back. Nigeria Right Now, poised to engender patriotism.
I ask my colleagues, my friends, that I endorse this program, and I want them to continue to patronize this program so that people out there will know exactly what is happening to Nigeria right now.
I advise Nigerians all over to watch Nigeria Right Now.
Well done, and keep up the good work. You're welcome back. This is still Nigeria Right Now with Dickson Iregbu, and we have the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill, Honorable Tony Nwolu. He's been our guest, and we are reading out some of those areas that has to do with young people getting involved in politics and why we should, in fact, get involved. Honorable, I heard that you're aspiring higher. Is that true?
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. So this power thing, therefore, once you test it, You want to keep going?
No.
You're going for governorship ahead?
No, not when you test power, like I told you earlier. It's a call to leadership.
Who does this call? Is it the people?
No. Sometimes the people, like in my own case.
Yes.
I was far away in Harvard when young people organized themselves across the 27 local governments. They came out in their thousands, in their droves. I was touched.
That's Imo now.
In
not
Imo
Lagos.
State. Imo State.
Yes.
You know, they came out, organized themselves. I can ask you to do your independent inquiry and investigation. The people that came out, I've never met any of them before. Not one. Not one of the individuals have I met.
They came out in thousands.
They came out in thousands. I was in Harvard when the pictures broke out.
Asking that what?
That I should return home and
home.
run for governorship in the States. I think the not too young to run thing also played a role and all that. You know, that's my own thinking actually, because I started, you know, why the whole thing? I know there had been talks here and there, Tony, come and run for governorship, but you know, the fact that the young people, why am I most touched about this? This demography are the most affected, the unemployed. Several things go on there that is wrong about the young Nigerians. A lot of them live in despair. Totally, they don't know what tomorrow seems to hold for them. So, and coming from a state like mine in Imo State, where everything has been awesome.
That's my state too.
Yeah, you know, so Imo State is not a state where you're called to come and run for governorship and you clap and dance through.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when somebody calls you, they understand the enormous job or task ahead. They know that the state needs to be salvaged. They know that the state is at the brink of collapse. You understand? It's a state that is sinking deep.
But Honorable, you see, I'm wondering, why haven't we heard someone like you say something about
the administration?
The kind of leadership that we have in the state.
It is very convenient for most politicians to do so.
So
run down people. No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Even when you are in the opposition?
When I'm in the opposition, I believe that there are two things that would always happen to every person that finds himself in a position of leadership. One is that posterity will judge you when you're done. Two is that the electorates would have their votes to decide during the next poll. Those are the two things you can do. Other than that, the other constitutional things is if you think the person has committed impeachable offenses, then the State Assembly will do their job.
So when in the opposition, you couldn't engage, you couldn't make the government in power to realize that people are watching.
But obviously,
because it got to a state where it was like a shameful thing to come from Imo State.
Obviously, you know we have leaders that lead with impunity. We have rulers, not leaders. We have people that are power drunk. We have persons in power that appear to suffer some hearing impairment.
Is that the way you would describe the current leadership in Imo State?
The current leadership in Imo State is, the only way I would describe it is something I told you. After his posterity will judge you.
No, describe for me. You're from Imo State. Yeah. Are you appalled in any way by the state of things in your state?
Who shouldn't be?
If you are, what is the state? How will you describe the current leadership in Imo State? In your own words.
You know, I have seen people use clueless. I don't want to say clueless.
It's already said already.
Would I say rudderless? No. I think everything you're asking me is already out there in the public. In a state where pensioners are not paid, civil servants are not paid, infrastructure is decaying. Those that you inherited has decayed under you. And let me tell you one truth. When you talk about administration, like I said earlier, it is very convenient for any other person, most politicians, to sit down, take a swipe at to curry public sentiments. I am not that kind of politician. I am not focusing on what the current administration has done right or wrong. I am not going to go after him as an individual. If you strengthen the institutions will do their job. I don't think it's about going after people like most people do. Let me get into office and then I'll jail you. It is not you. You're not the state. We begin to understand that, yes, you're leading, but strengthening the institutions, the capacity to be able to even proactively stop most of the things. The governor is just one person. Let's not forget that. Away from the governor, you have the commissioners that should do their jobs.
The commissioners are not elected. The governor is the one
the commissioners are appointed.
Elected. Yes.
Are they doing their jobs?
If they are not doing their jobs, somebody should take responsibility.
You have the state assembly.
Yes.
That should be there to check the governor. What are they doing? What are they doing? So if you allow, if the institutions that are supposed to function, that are supposed to perform the oversight on the executive, not do what they are meant to do, then you have a total collapse of the system.
Okay, let's bring this.
Now you have a man that believes that he can call the whole shot because probably a whole lot of people are compromised. That is the truth about it.
Compromised. What is it that would be termed being compromised in politics?
Well, when we talk about compromise, it means when you leave what you're supposed to do at the state assembly to come begging for crumbs from the governor's table. Then you forget you let off what makes you an independent arm of government.
Does this also apply to the center?
It applies everywhere.
So how well is the House of Reps, where you are a member, how well have they been able to do
You must have seen that at the federal level,
yes,
right from the beginning of this section,
yes,
there has been no love lost between the executive and the legislative.
Yes, so Nigerians will say, yes, we've seen conflict, all right, but not headed to anywhere. Because after the conflict, we see you end up probably having a closed-door meeting with the executive, and you come out all smiling.
Also realize that yes, it is a process of resolution. You cannot be in conflict in perpetuity. Conflict would always come, even in war.
Yes,
there's always room for resolution, and resolution can only come true when you dialogue. So we're not. You can't. It's democracy.
So the executive arm and the legislative arm are not at war.
The closed room sections happen everywhere, in every democratic life, in the United States, everywhere where there are issues of conflict. It is established that this is an issue of conflict, and then you go into closed door negotiations on how to resolve.
Okay, Honorable, your party, the People's Democratic Party, right? What happened? Everybody seemed to be like there's no strong opposition against the ruling party.
I don't agree with you when you say there is no strong opposition within the ruling party.
The school of thought will say PDP is mostly reactionary in its approach, not setting the pace, unlike when the APC was in the opposition. They were setting the agenda, engaging, and so much so that they got power from.
I think
is your party ready to come to power?
I think I have seen maturity on the part of PDP too, which you will not take away. You see, someone can be cantankerous. Yes. It doesn't mean you're making any sense. You know, yes, APC got into power making so much noise. Power has been given to them. How well have they managed it?
How well have they managed it?
That's exactly what Nigerians now would have to judge. You know, it's not enough for someone to make noise. I want this cup, I want this cup. I want this cup. If I get this cup, I will perform magic, I will do this, I will do that with this cup. Okay, fine. You've told Nigerians, cried and wailed, you wanted this cup. Nigerians have handed you over this cup.
Do what you want to do.
It is not left for Nigerians to make their choice. Like I keep saying, at the end of the day, the ultimate decision lies with the electorate. It is not just enough for anybody to turn around and condemn the government in power or anybody or any politician in power. The question is, how well have you done when you were supposed to vote? Most times I also take this back to the electorate. Any politician that comes out to bribe you, to give you money to vote for him, any politician that you see spending hundreds of millions to get into office, If you have a way of taking money, take from the man and run away from him. Don't vote him into power. Because most of them believe they have, for any young person, that they give 10,000 naira, 50, 100, 1 million to perpetrate violence and all the electoral malpractices that they do. They have also paid you for your unemployment.
Already ahead.
Ahead of time. They have also paid you for poor medical infrastructures and facility. They've actually paid you for, they've mortgaged you into slavery. And they've paid not just you, but your family members. Because when you have a family member that is sick, I know how many people within the last couple of months that died in Imo State simply because they were rushed to the hospital and there was no oxygen in the government hospital.
Hold on to your thoughts. It's getting there, and we will get to that stage where the Honorable will unveil his dream and ambition, and indeed his plans for Imo people. We'll be right back. So you're saying that bottom approach to governance is what you want to do?
Transparency and prudency. Allow them, let the people know what is being allocated to the local government, what they are getting at the end of the day, so that you know you're close to your people. One, you're through the process of the election. Through election, not fixing your cronies. Hold on that. I would not. You're catching me on tape on this. I would not. And one of the things I promised them is that 2 months into my administration, elections will be held.
Into the local government offices?
Elections will be held. Free, fair, credible elections. Monitored by people. Let the people choose who they want. It does not matter which party.
Honorable Tony, let's bring you back to the national scene before we round up. 2019. Who's your candidate for president?
Oh, wow. I don't think
or you want the present administration to continue?
I don't think it's time for that yet.
Do you want to give another opportunity to this government?
You know the problem we have. You know the problem we have also.
Yeah.
With this question you just asked me, is that in Nigeria, 80% of the time we're practicing, up to 80% of the time we're practicing chimpanzee politics.
What is this chimpanzee politics?
Good. Chimpanzee politics is that politics. You know, in the chimpanzee kingdom, all they do is politics 70% of the time.
Really?
Yes, go and read up. What they keep plotting is how to maneuver, how to defeat, how to dethrone. They are territorial fighters. So 70% of the time, they are negotiating power. That is what happens. You can go.
So what's going on now? Is power being negotiated?
That is the chimpanzee politics. 70% of what is going on among politicians is chimpanzee politics. Then 30% leadership. But Nigeria will move forward when we do 70% leadership, 30% politics.
All right. Nigeria will move forward when we do 70% leadership and 30% chimpanzee politics. That's from Honorable Tony Nwolo. Of course, you've heard that he is going for governorship in Imo State. He's reeled out a bit of what he has at his mission, going to Imo State. That's Douglas House, isn't it? And then he's also talked about what should be held, how he should be held on some of these things he said here. On arrival, 2 months into office, he'll be conducting the local government and councillorship elections and all of that, saying that bottom approach to governance, that is taking leadership or governance to the people, is his mission in Imo State. He's also talked about how that he wants to leave certain steps, footprints behind for young people to follow. That money politics is not the only way out, but that you should think about those leadership qualities that will make you have social capital with which to negotiate power. And that's Nigeria right now for today. I hope you've picked a few of things from the Honorable who sponsored the Not Too Young to Run bill. That's a very important bill in our country today. I look forward to seeing you next week. Same station. Nigeria right now.
This is Nigeria. Just because I'm on TV now. Person who no get work is checking to see if my watch is original. This is Nigeria. Whether Madam Philomena, money vanish for your office, 36 million, you tossing an animal. This is Nigeria. Never any recession. When looters and killers and stealers are still contesting election. Politicians with thieves, some billion and billion, you know they go prison. Police station they close by 6. Security reason.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono.
One of the reasons for the crowd in the banking hall have to do with the bulk of people who use the ATM. One of the banks happened to be one of our very old banks. Okay, they were doing that. They've been doing that for quite a while. You know, the level of education usually cannot compared to education for those with current accounts. Yeah. Okay, so when you have the situation.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Jonathan. With me today,
News 24 Extra is taking it up a notch. You can now have news curated to your interest anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store on iOS. Search News 24 Extra. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news in politics, entertainment, lifestyle, sports, and much more. So stay connected with News 24 Extra. News at your fingertips.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go, anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.